It's the Intergalactic Soul, the Honorable Brother, the Revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 117 of Power Bombshells. I am Sam, that is Mel. We are just two broads talking about the wrestling we watch, and you are here for our pre-show for Double or Nothing, and the pre-show has become a favorite of our fearless leader Gigi. So
he is very excited about
who is hashtag in Vegas.
Oh, he is hashtag in Vegas. There's a lot of people hashtag in Vegas.
There are a lot of people hashtag in Vegas for this.
The Discord collision thread yesterday, Dynamite usually gets pretty good. Our Discord thread usually gets a lot of, people in it. But Rampage and Collision especially haven't been getting any traction at all. And then, but last night, since Garrett was sitting with Paul, and Paul was marking out about Jeff Jarrett, and Garrett was like, "This is so cute," and they were taking pictures together and popping them in there, and I'm pretty sure they all went ballistic. I actually realized how spoiled I am when Tanahashi came on. Spoilers, when Tanahashi came running in, because I was like, I saw it on the screen and was like, "What the fuck?" And Bob's like, "What? Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Get in here."
Yeah, when we saw it pop up, Nikki and I like screamed at the same time. We were like, "Tana!" Yeah, we popped huge. Like it was
when I
go ahead.
I've seen him live 3 times now. And I'm like, I am such a spoiled person. I was like, oh yeah, but I was like, oh my God, some of my friends are seeing him for the first time right now. And I was like, I was really trying to ground myself and be like, this is so awesome. Because I was realizing that for some of the people that we know that are there,
right,
they haven't been to Forbidden Door. They haven't seen some of the Japanese wrestlers yet.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, plus when he said the ace, I was like, that's President Ace to you.
Exactly. It is. Get it right. It's President Ace.
Yeah,
we popped huge for him because we were trying to figure out, like, when they announced, because at first they said it was a mystery opponent, and I was like, okay, maybe it's going to be somebody who was like on the original All or Double or Nothing. I was like, maybe it's going to be somebody. So I was like, maybe it'll be somebody like Kip Sabian, somebody like that. And then I saw that he said he flew someone in, and I was like, who the hell did he fly in? And I was like, I don't think it's Ibushi because I don't think he's cleared yet. And I was like, maybe it's, then I was like, well, maybe somebody like Shingo. And I was like, but Shingo's been talking shit about Jon Moxley and the IWGP stuff. So I was like, that's probably going to be for Forbidden Door. And then I just kind of quit. No, I'm not necessarily facing him, but I was like, they're not going to bring him in for this. And so I was trying, and then I kind of just like forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, like he popped up on the screen, and his screen popped up, and I was like, oh my God, it's Tana. And so, yeah, I was like, Tana will never not get a pop out of me.
Never.
Like, I love that guy.
That music hits, man, and I just lose my ever-loving mind.
Same. And oh my God, getting the spots with him doing the dance with Daniel Garcia, and bless his poor little knees, he was like, he was like, Tana was not even dancing, he was marching. I was like, listen, his knees are hanging on by a thread. Let him do what he has to do.
What I love about Tanahashi, it's like those knees, man. And I mean, Jeremy and Steven have talked about it a ton. Like, they have like the whole, like the two Tanahashis thing, which I love. But he, like, first of all, air guitar and dancing was hilarious, was wonderful.
That was oh God, I love that.
Stuff you don't know you need in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I was like, oh my God, he's really going to do the high fly forward right now. He's going to deliver every single time, even if it freaking kills him. And I was there for the spot where he dropped, because we were at that show.
Right, where he dropped down.
Oh, that may have been a Collision show, because it was the Collision before.
Right, where he fell off
the actual night of Forbidden Door, where he slipped off
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, in a fairness, like you don't know, like the ropes are different and everything. And I've
Right.
heard about this, is that there are differences, and even JD has talked about,
Especially in between the
but with
Japan
him,
and America.
it's him. But
Yeah.
he doesn't care. He's like, I don't care. I'm going to give you the spot that you came here to see and that you love from me. And I was it's like, I almost felt like this is what Dynamite should have felt like too. This felt like a better.
I thought Dynamite was pretty
Bad.
but
I
yeah.
thought this sold the show just a little bit better.
Yeah,
but
and I'm wondering if they couldn't get Tana in until this weekend. Like if he couldn't
other people. There's a lot of people.
Chris Stratton was like, or no, I think it was
need to
Walter
be
Stewart.
quite this big, because I get saving Tana until tonight, like last night. That makes total sense to me.
And it goes perfectly because they popped up like right when he came out, they popped up the Forbidden Door graphic and tickets going on sale and all that. I was like, so it was really perfect to do it. And then Tony Khan tweeted and said something like, thank you for, because Tana brought him a Liger jacket. And he was wearing it in it's a picture of Tana. It's a picture of Tana and Tony, and then Tony is wearing the Liger jacket.
Oh my god, now I'm really gonna have to spam him with Detroit statistics.
And then he said something about thank you for coming to help us fight against basically the evil EVPs or something along those lines. Like he was like basically thank you for helping us fight the good fight or something like that. It was really funny the way that he worded it. And so they got the storylines out of it. They knew that it was going to get a big pop. So like I thought they delivered really well with it. I thought, and to do it at the beginning of the show, I thought was really smart to kind of get. So Collision was. I think you're right. I think Collision probably was the better of the three go home shows. That one was the one.
And I mean, consistently a little bit, Collision has been the best show out of the three in a lot of ways.
Yeah, especially like
it's more exciting. The pacing is even. It's weird how they utilize the 2 hours Wednesday versus the way they utilize the 2 hours.
Yeah, and I think last night, I think maybe that's another reason last night was a little bit better too, because they weren't doing the 3 hour block of Collision and then Rampage, because we've talked about it how when they've done the 3 hour blocks, the Collision pacing is different and I don't like it as much. And so when it's just they've got their 2 hours, it flows really well. And like it's just I really like the pacing of it. And I thought last night it was nice to have that back, but I think playoffs are still ongoing, so I'm sure I won't be surprised if we have another 3 hour block coming up.
I mean, it's still the best deal, and it's still the best place for them to be. And fighting the playoffs this time of year is something that you're gonna have to deal with. But I don't think that is the reason that AEW has been suffering the things that it's been suffering. I think it has more to do with booking. So it's just.
I think so too, but again, for me, because I have to watch both products, I would still to me the AEW booking is not that bad. I can see why people complain, but because I have to watch it and WWE, and there are some, and that's not to say that I don't like some stuff about WWE, because I do. There are some good stories. There's been some really good matches. Like the women have been putting out, Lyra Valkyria just had a really great run in the Queen of the Ring tournament. I didn't watch the Blood Money show, but I watched her other matches. So they have some really good stuff there. So it's not, I don't hate everything about it. It's just that's not the style of wrestling I prefer, especially now that especially because I've had 5 years of AEW. I've been watching New Japan for 7 or 8 years now. I prefer, and there's a lot of indie wrestling that I like. So, but I can understand that I see people complaining about AEW, but I'm like, I would rather watch this than, other things. To me, even the bad stuff is still not that bad to me, at least. And so I
mean, we don't talk about ratings and stuff, but I do pay attention to the money side of things, because I know that in the end of the day is the bottom line is the bottom line.
Right.
And but so I don't want
Tony, but Tony makes the point that but Tony's made the point for 2 years that Warner Brothers, what they look at is different. They look at different things. They don't look at the same sort of things. And so he's like, as long as Warner Brothers is happy and thinks we're successful, then that's all I care about, which he should. That's who pays him. And gives them media rights. And of course, there is the possibility that once their window closes that they can, or the the exclusivity closes, he can go talk to other partners. But I mean, he's always, and of course, you're not going to talk bad about the people giving you money, but he's always very positive. But he was like, look, Warner Brothers, this is what they look at and this is what they're happy with. So I mean, as long as they're happy, then I don't understand why fans are more upset than AEW is. Like, fans.
No, I'm not upset. For me, it's
not you.
About
I just mean the conversation in general.
No, I know what you mean. But those are like people that are like they're also like people that are either rooting for the thing to fail or think the sky is falling all the time, which those are people that I just don't understand, because that would be bad for wrestling. Like, you're literally encouraging, you're saying like, hey, I want a bunch of people to lose their job.
Yeah.
Like at every level, not just in the ring, but like all the things that go into producing a product.
Yeah.
Like, which is stupid anyway.
And like, you not talk about it all the time. Like,
be rooting for that. But
it's not just wrestlers. Like, it's the behind the scenes crew. It's everything. Catering. It's hair and makeup. It's accounting. It's literally like, they have given literally hundreds of people jobs, which is a good thing, whether you like the product or not.
Great things for charities across this nation, and they've worked really hard and helped people out, and I will always appreciate that from them. And and WWE, I mean, gets their due for their work with places like Make-A-Wish and everything. It's like, I'm never gonna shit on that.
One of the people that they released on Friday, they released some office people, and one of them was their community person, like the person who handles that, like does that type of stuff. She's been there for almost 20 years and they let her go.
I mean, under their leadership, the current leadership, the head of that TKO under Ari Emanuel, that does not surprise me in the remotest.
No, not at all. But just when you see things like that, I'm like, you did it right before you did it. SmackDown was in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, the Blood Money show was also in Saudi Arabia. So then you kind of need that community person to kind of gloss that over and be like, hey, look at all the other good things we do, like with Make-A-Wish and things like that.
I guess the Saudis pay them enough not to give.
Oh no, they're apparently the conversations have are getting even deeper about them taking, because we talked about it a couple weeks ago about the possibility of Royal Rumble or WrestleMania going to Saudi Arabia, and it sounds like that conversation is picking up steam.
It's because they're hammering, the Saudi government is hammering TKO for bigger shows, and they're offering, the rumors of some of the money that they're offering is stupid, and everyone's like, no, it'll never happen because of this and that. And it's no,
it'll absolutely
don't
happen.
Say
it'll
never.
Happen. It'll happen within. I think they've got 7 or 8 years left on that deal. It'll happen for that.
Something like that. And
I would
beyond that, it's like they don't care if people can travel to it. They don't care if it's logistically weird for you to not be able to watch Royal Rumble or something. If the price is right, like. I mean, they just flew into it. It still blows my mind. Like, I still can't wrap my brain around the fact that they just flew in and out of a war zone. Like, I mean, and I appreciate, like, at least keeping the conversation alive is like people like Dave talking about the fact that we're talking about a nation that had a journalist bone sawed to death.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to call it what it is because it happened.
Well, he did. And have the women who are posting pictures thanking the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for allowing them to be on their beach.
They're being part of their propaganda.
And then they were, it's like they're in bikinis and they're like on the beach and like in the ocean and smiling, and they're like, and somebody and I retweeted it. Somebody was like, yeah, but then if they were doing that a half a mile away, they would have all been arrested. And, and
who cares? Because like one of them made a point this morning on the podcast that they could take a picture running around in bikinis at a beach anywhere in the world, but they have to do it here as a propaganda campaign. It's the sports,
and they did it on the official WWE account. On top of that,
the big name people in the wrestling business are calling out the sports washing.
They should be.
And I mean, Dave even said, he's like, it sucks because it's working. And I was like, Thank you. And
and not only that, they are
always
lying.
brings up Jamal Khashoggi, like he always brings him up, and I appreciate that because that's an important thing that we need to remember. Because that's a person that's a journalist.
Yeah.
And you do journalism, and people we know do journalism. And, I mean, it may be small time, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, and then you have like they're lying to the women by saying they're lying to the women talent by saying, hey, you're helping other women see you, and they're going to be like, oh, and they're going to think that they can do this when that's not the case. Like there was a picture, somebody wrote a really great article about women still facing like basically persecution for there's the things that they're facing for being women and trying to do things. And like there was a picture, this woman a month from that picture that Bianca and them were, of them all in the ocean. And then this woman was arrested. They were like a month apart, and that woman was basically arrested for trying to exercise her freedom. And that was literally a month apart.
She was wearing, she was outside in exercise clothes. She was just in regular, normal, like if you or me were like out walking or taking a hike or whatever we felt like doing, like yoga pants and a sports bra probably or something in the similar vein, like the things that I wear normal. I mean, stop it. And it's gross and it's working, and I'm glad that they were calling it out, and I appreciate the fact that
and I like one of the things I really hated
brings it up but the fact is like we're living in a crazy time right now, and it makes me, I mean, you cover the WWE, and you even didn't watch the Blood Money show, and you can
no, but Friday I had to watch SmackDown because I was covering it, and I had to, and it was live from SmackDown. I was like, and they put a bunch of, and they did it on, but they put a bunch of women on Friday night show, like they were in matches and they were in the back, backstage area. And I was like, normally I would be thrilled that the women were getting all this, but I know what they're doing and it's pissing me off. And they're using these women as propaganda, clearly the entire company, but then they're lying to the women and telling them, hey, you are encouraging women and all this stuff, which is bullshit. And so these women are thinking, hey, you know what? I'm making a difference, when in reality they're not really. And I hate that they are forced. I mean, you can't help where, I mean, you have to work where they tell you
they're working. They have to work.
And so it just, I hate that for them. It's the whole situation is just gross, and I hate
There's no ethical consumption under this version of capitalism.
No,
and that's just the truth. And I really feel bad because they are being made part of, and I agree with the sentiment, they are being made part of a propaganda campaign that, look at us, we are great. We have Royal Rumbles and our women can, no, they can't. Because there's still like a guy that has to escort the women to the ring, and I still can't go grocery shopping there without a permission slip from my husband. And it's poof. And and I mean, there's even deeper political ramifications that are like the geopolitical situation because of our relationship, America's government's relationship with the Saudi government. And so it makes it even like worse in my mind, because I do know history in politics and finance.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, like for you, it's like you have a specific reason. And I think you have editors that, like, I mean, you're watching this, you could, like, if you felt like it, even write an article about the look over here component of that, because you've written stuff like that plenty of times. And so, I mean, it does school you, and it does keep you conscious, so you can be someone who's like, but I'm going to call it out because I'm watching
I even did it on Friday because, I told you we do those things where, the three things
what we love and what we hated.
And so I loved actually, and it was Nia winning, going to the same, because I feel like for Nia's character, but I prefaced the article. I was like, first, I would like to, let me say that I don't like that. Like, I don't like that this is being sports washed. I don't like that the women are being used as pawn. They can't help where they work. That's not their fault, but I hate that they're part of it. And I was like, now that we got that out of the way. So like I started, and then I went into, okay, this is what I loved about it. Like, I think this, this is great for Nia. Her character needs it, blah, 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 like that type of stuff. But I was like, I've got to preface this with, because I was like,
that's good.
I can't, because I don't want to, because if I don't put that in there and say it's somebody who's seeing my writing for the first time, they're gonna be like, oh, everybody at Wrestling Inc. is, which, and I don't think, and that's not the case. We're covering, I mean, we have to cover it because it's our job, but like, I don't want them to be like, oh, they're okay with, sports washing. So I was like, let me put this right here before we get into this. Like, I need you to know up front, like, this is not okay. I don't like this. This is not where I want to see what, like, of course, I'm an advocate for women's wrestling, but not in this way, not in a case where you were using them as propaganda to make more or less, not even the Saudis, but to make people globally think, oh, it's getting better for women in Saudi Arabia, because now look at all these women on WWE, and even if they are covered, from the neck all the way down, everything is covered, like they're still out there and doing stuff, but it's not.
That's so much more. I mean, it's so much more of a show for the West than it is for the actual population.
Yeah, 100%.
This is all about a big, like, yo. But hello, Hassan. Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here. Hi.
Yeah, we're not planning to go off on this.
Nikki, I don't have a big blue hat, but now you're making me want one. As I was telling Sam before, I'm struggling a little bit because I don't have 117 hats.
Which Eddie, that's perfect that Eddie asked that, because Mel and I were just talking about this before we came on here.
Although I will say this, is that over the years, we have collected a lot, because Bob works in retail and has for a long time, in different kinds of retail.
Sure.
He's everything from video games to auto.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got so much swag over the years, and ball caps are all the rage. So if you guys like wanted me to wear a different ball cap every single week, it was from like all kinds of places. We have the Rubbermaid bins. Everyone knows. Everyone our age knows those. Full of ball caps. So
see, you could just pull one out, like, just at random, just pick a random hat.
Some are really, really nice, man. It's like, yeah, it is. It's hilarious. And then, of course, if they're on sale on clearance, I try to grab new fun ones. And some of them are ones I like. This one I legitimately wear outside because it's got a great brim on it for keeping the sun off my. But it's open on top, and I tend to sweat. So except for my straw hat.
There you go.
Good for outdoor work. Except when you start pulling the weeds and the pollen is so bad that you immediately start sneezing uncontrollably.
That is never fun.
Yeah. But you can't let the weeds be in the.
I know.
It's a struggle.
So they tried to, they try to keep you from getting the weeds out. They're like, well, I'll just make you sneeze so you can't pull me out.
I think it is a defense mechanism. I think they spit their. I won't say what it. I won't say. Well,
I know what I have a feeling where you're going with it.
Yeah, they try to procreate right in my face, as it were, and that's their form of defense against humans. So
understandable.
I was wrestling. We have those tall grasses with the little, like, everyone has them. They're like tall grass that have sort of little sprigs at the top off them.
Yeah.
And they grow in everything, and you just want to get rid of them. And you think that you could just like pull them out, but they're actually like, nah. I'm this tall. I'm this deep into the ground as I am tall.
Yeah.
And so what I was doing was I was literally wrapping my hands around them because I could. That's how long they were. And just hauling them out of there. But I'm like, this is like half weeding, half like strength training over here right now. I'm getting my cardio and my weeding done. It's like excellent.
There you go.
I mean, I do when I like mow the lawn and do stuff like that. I lift properly because my cousin has taught me how. So I like it's, well, I do weight bearing exercise, so I don't, my bones don't decay. So.
Yeah, we don't want that.
This has been Health and Wellness Corner.
after the WWE sports washing rant.
Well, we
are multifaceted on this show.
Well, I hate, like, we have to, like I said, you even made the point because you said you were able to even say your editors are cool. You were even able to say, I'm not cool with this. Here's the article. And they went, okay, cool. And so that's that's the way it should be.
So far, so good. I don't know how far I can push it, but so far they've been good.
They'll tell you when you can't. So
yeah.
Or or the algorithm will rip it down.
I try to do it within reason, and I try not to do it all the time. But it's really frustrating when you have because I've written about the Triple H era and Triple H Mania. It's hard not to. Then then of course but some of them have just been things like that I've just disliked, like Logan Paul getting a title shot against Cody Rhodes for just out of the blue with the 2 week with the 2 week window. That's a whole other. But yeah. Yes, this is correct. So many topics, so little time.
It's true.
It's true. And we weren't even planning to talk about that. That's not on even on our list of things to talk about. But it's
you do cover it, so we should talk about what we were going to talk.
We should talk about what we were going to talk about. So before we get into the pre-show, which are the going down the card, which I'm sure most of you are here for, we will get. This is AEW related, but we will get to a couple of things.
I wanted to download the audio for it and couldn't find it.
That's okay. Let me pull that up because I have something else pulled up. I have the other two.
Deflection is at it again.
The other two things that I have that we were talking about, I have that pulled up, but then I forgot about getting this.
You know what I would give Tony Khan if I ever met him? I would give him a little shield.
Uh-huh.
Because his deflect skill is so high. He may as well have some extra armor with him.
Okay.
It'll just be like AEW belt, the plate on the World Championship. It'll be shaped like that. I'll have a little arm thingy for it.
There you go.
For just when Sam asks questions so he can be like, boom.
I got pretty far in, it was late into the call before I was the third to last question, and I was like, they are not going to let me ask because they've seen on Twitter. This is what I was, because Brad quote tweeted Brandon Thurston the other day, and he was like, "Go ahead and follow Sam because I know she's going to ask about
thank you, Brad, by the way."
So I was thinking, I was like, Lord, somebody from AEW saw that tweet, and they're like, they were not asked. Don't let her ask any questions. It's getting deep into the call, and it was funny because my question actually came right before Dave Meltzer.
I know. I was like, oh my god. I love that you tweet. I really appreciate that you tweet it because I actually follow the scrum on your tweet because I would never be able to sit there and I can follow it on Twitter. It's fine. Yeah. But when I don't want to sit and listen to
sometimes I will just leave stuff out because he just starts talking, which it's he gives really thorough answer about certain things that
you do a really nice job. I feel
so
I try to I've listened and seen your tweets also, and so I know you're doing a good job. I love that. I super appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. So I asked, of course. I asked,
what could Sam have asked?
Why he went with a triple threat, a triple main event. And snuck in there. When are the women going to get to main event by themselves? I knew he wasn't going to answer it, but I snuck it in there anyway.
Because she does the hard work here, folks.
So he gives me this answer. So my tweet that I had was that I said, I asked about the decision to have a triple main event when we can expect the women to main event a pay-per-view on their own. Tony feels like all three matches have really different stakes for different reasons. Swerve has been a great champion. Christian is the MVP of AEW. He's one of the best signings they've ever made. He put him over quite a lot. It's a huge match in Swerve's first pay-per-view defense. The rivalry build up has been great. He's so excited for Swerve versus Christian. It's become a personal match between the both of them just because of things that they've been doing. Swerve is a master of mind games, and Christian loves bringing in families. And he also made the point that this could be Swerve's only title defense on a pay-per-view because obviously he can't say Swerve's going to win. So he's got to build it up as this could be Swerve's only title defense in a pay-per-view. You never know, which I get it. He's got to say it. But then I was like, well, this could also be Willow's only pay-per-view title shot, but whatever. I was muted by then. I can't say anything back. Then he goes on to say, so when he gets to the Willow Mercedes part, earlier
so when he finally actually answers anything about the women, because he doesn't say anything about you ask a specific question about the women and he goes straight to talking about the men. He doesn't even
about the triple threat. Why the triple threat? And I was like, and I was listening to him, like he made good points, but I was like, who are you
politician,
I was
dude.
like, who are you convincing? Are you convincing yourself that this should be the main?
He's a politician. He is.
He very much is.
This is politics 101, like dealing with the media. This is like what they do.
Right. Oh no, 100%.
Hilarious.
So he did give me some information on Willow and Mercedes, which I'll read in a minute. But earlier in the call, Amy Nimity had asked about the TBS championship. So he gave like a lot of because he was answering her, and he gave a lot of background on, this is the 1 year anniversary of their match, Mercedes' first match on the ring. Like, so he had already kind of been over that, which he's like, I kind of already gave a long answer about this, and then he said, so Willow and Mercedes will be fantastic. It's been 1 year since Mercedes wrestled. She's one of the biggest signings in AEW history. Willow had an incredible year beating Mercedes last year. She's been the face of TBS. To have one of the biggest wrestlers in the world gunning for you is tremendous. He thinks it'll be a tremendous match. He put him over a little bit more, but that was the gist of it. Then he said, Anarchy in the Arena is one of the biggest matches. It's more of a street fight. Each match presents a main event feel. The card is great, but those 3 matches are what they earmarked for the triple main. All the men and women in the triple main event are important to AEW. Last year was a double main with the introduction of one of the greatest women's wrestlers. He wanted them to be part of the triple main event, is basically his answer for why we have a triple main event. And he also brought up that he liked the idea of like the slot machine, with the slot machine, they have they have the 3 images, and he liked, he liked that, like, to promote it as a triple main. He liked having an image of all 3, which I get, but still, like Vinkin says, the main event is the last match. Exactly. But that was his answer. I had to at least get something on record. It was a little bit, he actually, as far as like answering why, like he gave her pretty decent, but he spent a lot of time on Swerve versus Christian, which makes me think.
Well, he just went around, he like circled around and circled around and circled around.
Yeah, and
the same thing he kind of always does, where he's like, let me talk up the other thing. Let me talk up what I did.
Yeah.
And then kind of meh your answer. You're like, I liked the image. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and the idea that this could be Mercedes or Swerve's only chance at
his only title defense on pay-per-view. When literally, then
why the F did you make him champion, dork?
Right, and then it's almost like, and of course he's got to say it. I know he's got to. You can't just.
Yeah, kind of, but on the other hand, left that out entirely, and like actually, like he could have given you a like half answer and left that out entirely, and not worried about.
Well, and then that's literally the argument you could make for Willow versus Mercedes. This could be
it actually undermines the men's main a little bit with saying it that way, because you're essentially saying that like, well, this guy could just get his ass handed to him tonight, and we totally did kind of just belt him because we wanted to capitalize on it. Just
you're finally capitalizing on somebody's momentum.
It just I know. If you made him champion and you're really committed, you need to be building him up, not breaking him down.
I don't think that's what he meant. I think his point was
but it kind of comes off that way.
I think he didn't want it to be he's not trying to make it a given that Swerve's going to win.
No, I know what he's trying to do, but I think it's like they cherry pick when they treat their fans and their media like smart.
Oh, for sure.
Fans and when they cherry pick it in a weird way that almost becomes insulting in and of itself, where it's like, okay, so this is one of those times where you're going to pretend that I'm a mark, not like, which it's cool when you're doing it at the NFL draft with your neck brace. That's fine. Like that's free pub. I'm cool. Like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Screw the NFL. That's so much shameless, whatever. But this seems like just a big. I mean, just say it.
It just reminded me of something else I was gonna add. So at the end of the call, like he always thanks the media for for their time and for covering AEW. Oh, he's always done that. But this one, it made me laugh because he was like, of course, the big thing was 5-year anniversary of Double or Nothing, 5-year anniversary. So that was like the thing, and he's like, a lot of you have been here all 5 years. And you've been covering us for 5 years. You've written literally thousands of articles about AEW. And then he said, sometimes I agree with it and sometimes I don't, but I appreciate it. Nikki was like, was that she's like, I know it wasn't a shot directly at you. And
that's a backhanded compliment is what that's called.
She was like, I think he was talking to you. I was like, probably. I was like, I mean, I know I'm not the only
You were
one.
certainly in the group he was referring to. Let's put it that way.
Oh, he's probably like, some of you ask questions I don't like, Sam.
Some of you make me answer questions that I'm just a little,
some of you just really annoy me.
Well, you and your weird hat wearing, like, dork of a sidekick, go back to like doing whatever it is you do. Going to your shows that aren't coming to my city.
Somebody asked again about, like, they ask this all the time. They're like, are there any new cities you would like to come to? The answer is always yes. Always yes. Like, but they still will ask him.
New. I mean, he's been here twice.
No, I mean, but in general, he's like, yes, there's new cities in the U.S. and new cities in Canada, new cities over. I was like, well, of course the answer is yes.
That's kind of a layup question, though. You have to be more specific. You have to be like, which new cities do you see yourself potentially running? And not like, would you like to run new cities? Yeah, of course. I mean, freezing. He said that, Samantha.
He basically did. Or as we joke, at Stephanie.
Is that what he thinks your name is?
No, it was.
Is there another girl in the group?
It was Sean Ross Sapp. Was at Revolution at the media call. He was tweeting. He was in the room, so he's live tweeting things. And I had asked about the women from CMLL coming over and about
Stephanie question.
Yeah, and I asked about Stephanie, and I think he accidentally meant to say. So he said Stephanie Shipman asks about the women in CMLL, including Stephanie Vacker, and I think he was thinking Stephanie, and he just typed it, and so I didn't know it, but one of my friends saw it and he screenshot it. And he said, who the hell is Samantha? I mean, it's Stephanie Shipman. So that's our running joke now, is anytime I do a media call, is we'll see if Stephanie gets to ask questions. And so Nikki, so we were joking and said that comment was at.
You have a gimmick now. That's cool.
Yeah. So in the media calls, we jokingly ask what Stephanie is going to ask.
Stephanie, what are you going to ask?
Sean Ross accidentally wrote Stephanie.
That's hilarious.
So yeah. So when he's at, and then they told me, they're like, oh, when you finally get kicked out of the scrums, and they're not going to let you anymore, that's your new persona. You can use this.
You can use your actual name because they think your name is Stephanie.
Sure. Or I can just come in as Stephanie, and they'll be like, oh, this is somebody else. And they're like, oh God, another Stephanie asking about women's wrestling.
Weird.
Hey, David. Vinkin, what are you talking about? He said, by the way, I see Athena Avenata is on the card. When was this announced? This should be an ROH match, and I have not seen anything about this being announced. So I don't know what you're talking
Is that for Death Before Dishonor? That's not coming.
That should be a Death Before Dishonor because they've been building up. They got to have their tag match first. So I guess let me hold on. Vinkin may answer us first. As the chat's a little bit slower than we are, so he may answer. I'm on AEW's Twitter right now, and I don't see anything about that. So I don't know where he saw. Maybe he saw that somewhere. Yeah, it's not on AEW's Twitter, which it should not be because they haven't done their tag match yet, which I assume they filmed. And it appears that Athena's injury is not as bad as feared because she is still currently scheduled for a independent show. I forget what the date is, so hopefully that means her injury is not as bad as it sounds. But speaking of, we'll get to another. Well, yeah, we got a couple injuries, and we'll get to the we'll talk about that. No, we have not gotten to predictions yet. We will be doing that shortly. David said, "My name is David. Perhaps I could get credentials as Dave Meltzer one day." Hey, you never know. You never know. So we have some updates on some people. One injured person is who has some infamous dealings in the Vegas area. Considering what happened in Vegas a couple of years ago at Double or Nothing, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And I always, if he shows up this weekend, Wardlow was going to murder him backstage, I think. And then we'll never see Maxwell again. But we do have a better update about him. So this came out on Fightful Select on Thursday. They can't speak of a certain date, but discussions have happened regarding MJF making an on-screen return to AEW, how it will look, alterations in presentation, and the like have been broached between MJF and AEW. There are several sources within AEW that believe he could be coming back sooner rather than later, most expecting him to be in the fold by Forbidden Door, which is in New York. It's actually on Long Island this year. So that had always been, before we kind of knew how bad things were, I think that had been the expectation for a lot of people, because you can't have a show there without MJF doing something. So it seems
I kind of, in my mind, I sort of had lined it up like that he would.
Yeah, that even if he's not on the show,
he would be there.
Right, he would be there in some shape or form, it feels like. So it says MJF obviously has been out of action since World's End. He had been working with a plethora of injuries, but was adamant that he wanted to finish out his reign. Prior to that, there had been many changes, primarily due to the injuries sustained by Adam Cole. MJF remains under contract for AEW for quite some time at this point. Following the controversial Double or Nothing 2023 situation, MJF got an extension with AEW, though we're not sure if it kicked in or it effectively replaced the former deal, or if this is an extension of the previous deal. But you and I have long said that he was locked up. Like, before they brought him back, they locked him up, and the bidding war 2024 was not actually happening because I
think it's going to come out pretty soon. That a lot of us that have believed that, because even Jeff was talking about this week, and he had made mention of something that like was on Fightful where they were talking about this, and it's like there's a group of us who have long believed that he did sign something at that after that all the shenanigans and drama that went on over there, like back that Double or Nothing. So I think it's going to be soon. I think we're going to hear about it soon. I think as soon as he's like in a place where he feels like I can announce when I'm coming back, I think we're gonna know with that announcement.
Maybe I'll just have another dream again, and he'll tell me. He'll just come back, and it won't be.
We haven't had snow yet, have we? So
I was gonna say maybe it won't be snow this time. Maybe
although there was confetti, maybe he'll be frolicking
in
I still think the confetti was the snow.
Exactly. See. We figured it out, and he was wearing he wore the suit.
Dreams are weird. That way.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe he'll come visit. Maybe I'll let you know if I have another premonition of when he's coming back. But so far, he's keeping to himself on that front. But yeah, it did also say they are not sure if he had shoulder surgery, because that was one of the big injuries he had towards the end, was his shoulder. But he like you said, he had quite a few injuries happening at happening. And then Vinkin says that I'm wrong, someone changed the card on Twitter. Okay, I was about to say, because Athena was injured like 2 weeks ago at a week ago. It's been about 10 days ago she was hurt at an ROH taping. And that match has not aired yet. I think it probably will air next week. So they also changed the Jericho match. I wish. And apparently, and Daza is here. I see him in the chat. And then
hello, Daza.
And then David is talking. David is telling a story about how he talked to MJF at a show once, and he apparently MJF told him he doesn't speak poor fat person. And also, he said he asked him how much a pick would be, and he told me $300, and I told him he was about as worthless as Virgil. Sure, that went over real well. All right. And so on our other injury news, which actually relates to a match that is happening on this card, Anarchy in the Arena obviously was supposed to have Eddie Kingston in it. Then he wrestled Gabe Kidd at the New Japan show and was injured very badly. So he has 3 different things going on. It says that Eddie met with his surgeons. Due to the nature of his injuries, he will likely not go under the knife to repair his ACL and meniscus tears until July at the earliest. That is because he also has a tibia fracture, and he has to wait for that to heal. And he's got to do some physical therapy first before they can even do anything with his knee. So after the surgery is completed, it'll be advised, or he's been advised, it'll take him at least 10 months before he can return to the ring. If there are no changes, so like if he has no complications and everything heals perfectly and he has surgery in July, that would not put him back until May of next year, or if he has surgery in July. So
he full out blew out his knee, as we say in the on the field. Like he blew out his knee. The meniscus thing is terrible, because you have to put replacement material in there. Like, and then again, like the physical therapy around anything orthopedic, like, because you guys have dealt with it, they have to do all the PT around it so that it sticks, or else.
Yeah, they have to do things
correctly. Your body has to be strong around the area that's about to be weak so that it heals properly, or else there's no point. That's why they won't do surgeries unless you've done. So it's but when I heard the injury, because it's all of these things individually are very common, especially in soccer players, because of how the sport.
Yeah, right.
Knees and ankles, hips and hamstrings, but knees especially, it's very common. I had a friend who blew out both of her knees. Yikes. It sucks. And when I heard it, it really bummed me out, because he was coming back for these matches and it was a freak thing. And
right.
I mean, at least we have the science now. Like, they can fix it though, and they will, and he will, at least theoretically, hopefully, have the opportunity to be back. It just sucks that that's a year away. Like,
because Chris Statlander tore her ACL and her meniscus, and she was out for 9 months, and then she re-injured it, and she was out longer. And so
and I mean, a lot of the orthopedic injuries, unfortunately, like, I mean, the old thing, it's like, it's never been the same. That's kind of how it feels. I mean, I've never had surgery, but I messed my knee up in high school, and it's never been quite the same. And I still exercise and I do my PT for it. And especially as you age,
that's what I was going to say.
And that's the thing with him. And that's the suck part of it, is he's like 41 or 2.
I think he's early 40s, and he's been wrestling for 20 years
and
on top of that. And the style of wrestling that he does, it's a lot. And I do think
so glad he got this like run of awesome that he's gotten.
Me too. I'm glad he got all his dream matches
just
last
in
year.
case.
Me too.
Just in case. I'm not thinking the worst.
They did.
I'm saying that. I'm glad he got to live in those moments, just in case this thing makes it. But God, it gets so much harder to heal. You hit that. Like every decade, it just gets a little harder and a little and your body is a little less like able to keep up with the idea, and it's just such a that's dumb, and I hate it.
Me too. I hate that for him. It's just, especially because Anarchy would have been just like the perfect spot for him to do all this stuff, and just I hate it. Just the timing's terrible.
Yeah, the timing is terrible. I wish he had gotten.
And there's never any good time to have an injury, but
I wish he had gotten hurt like in Anarchy or after it, or like.
Well, God, that's what happened to Mike Santana. he got hurt in Blood and Guts and was out for a year.
I remember I was there.
And then remember they said that's why they didn't want, they were like, the women might get injured if they do a Blood and Guts. And then here's Mike Santana
Yeah, but
missing
they
a
weren't doing the
year.
crazy crap that he was doing that night.
Oh,
We
I
saw
know,
that
but
injury. That was the Blood and Guts. That was the first Detroit show.
It was. Oh, I know, but it's just that's what he's like. Oh, well, we don't want injuries for the women. Okay, but men get injured in that match every year. But all right, Mercedes
women
didn't get
are gonna, like, in
Mercedes.
other-
Mercedes just missed a year, and she was just in a regular match. Eddie was in a
she got
regular match.
suplexed. It was a suplex. It was a freak thing.
Yeah, it was. Hey, David.
Hey, David. Word.
We've got
Welcome.
Frank here too for a preview show. Yes, we were going to be getting to the preview part of it. We just wanted to knock out some of the updates to
Other
some
things
of
that
the
happened
AEW
this week.
wrestlers. I will get to this comment from Daza real quick before we get into the preview part of the show. Daza says he wants to recommend a film called The Assistant purely because the story and themes are scarily like the Janelle Grant story.
I feel like I know this movie.
Is that something that's come out recently?
You've got to tell me who's in this one because I feel
'Cause
like
I feel
this is
like-
actually a movie that I've heard of.
Yeah, I was like, didn't this came out recently, I think, right? If it's the same movie I'm thinking of.
Obviously, Daza is our movie guy. So
yes. Vinkin says Jamie Hayter's been out for a year. I think she's been out 18 months. I think it's been over a year, I think is what I saw. And then Britt has been out nearly a year, I think, as well.
Good Lord.
And the rumor is that she is not in Vegas this weekend. I don't know how much I believe that. I mean, it's like, because even if she's not wrestling, she could be around backstage because she's been around since the beginning. Oh, cool. So Frank said he literally typed up AEW preview and this popped up. Well, I'm glad that it did. So thank you for being here.
Awesome.
And so, but yeah, so we will
Good
talk about that. Yes. So I guess we'll see if Daza answers this in just a second.
Yeah,
We'll get to
we can always go back to it.
But or we'll circle back to it later. Oh, and also while we're waiting, if you have not subscribed to the Fight Game Media YouTube, please do, because obviously we're here every Sunday at 1:00. There will be a post show tonight after Double or Nothing. It will be Kevin Ely and
Jeremy Feinstein.
Is Jeremy Feinstein going to be with him?
Yes.
Yeah, they are. So that's roughly, like, I think it might be 15 minutes after the pay-per-view is, or maybe it's 20. It might be. We'll be retweeting it on the Fight Game Media Twitter and on the Powerbombshells as well. But they'll be doing that. We've got Pile Drivers and Popcorns is coming tomorrow night. They've got a new episode of that coming. There's also The Joy of Wrestling that is a new weekly show that Paul Fontaine does. There's also Paul Fontaine and Jeff Hawkins do the Dynamite show Wednesdays as soon as Dynamite ends. There's also on Thursdays we have Jeremy and Steven who do Speaking of Strong Style, which is a purely New Japan related show, and there's a lot of stuff happening over there with BOSJ. I'm only on night 5. 3 matches.
Yeah, like the fact that they did a poll for their fans and said, do you want Evil and John Moxley, or do you want Best of Super Juniors final to be the main event at Dominion? And they voted for Best of Super Juniors.
They did, but also apparently it's something I haven't, because I'm behind, I haven't seen all of it, but I saw people saying that they still did House of Torture bullshit. So we're still probably going to get House of Torture bullshit with at Dominion regardless.
I would like to quote my friend who said that if they put that belt on Evil, the entire staff of New Japan should be committed to an insane asylum. So I tend to agree with that sentiment.
I want to see Evil in the main event because
I don't want to see Evil near that belt ever again.
Everyone hates Evil. This is true, Frank.
It's true.
You are correct.
But I mean, if the people in Japan like Evil, that's what they have.
I know. That's what I have to remind myself all the time is House of Torture.
And I don't know if that's
Japanese
true or not. I would
Western
really
fan.
love to ask somebody, like, I would love to be like, hey, Fumi, do the people really like
but I think when we had Justin on, Justin said that they do.
Yeah.
I think he did.
I think he
did say that. Well, at the time, that was a few months ago. Maybe by now they don't like him anymore. We'll ask Justin for an update. But but yeah, so we have all these great shows. So make sure that you subscribe because we've got great content coming out every week. There's also the Fight Game Media podcast on Spotify there's the Wrap, which is WWE. So there's all kinds of, everything is covered. Oh, and then I almost forgot. Then we have Scott Edwards, who does, if you are into Joshi, then you need to be watching everything that Scott Edwards does with the 5-Star Joshi show, because he is on it and he knows everything about everything to do with Joshi
and
wrestling.
you just watched the Marigold show, and I have access to that, and I need to watch it because my friend was telling me that the tag team main event was like the best, one of his favorite matches of the year right now.
Oh,
so
wow.
Like, okay. I
heard a couple people saying that show.
I didn't realize that it was going to be on Wrestle Universe, so I was like, oh damn. Okay, so I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna get to it.
I did hear something about that, and I know Julia hurt her wrist.
Yeah,
but it's apparently not as bad as they expect, and she should still be in NXT for the NXT show, and I think it's in a few weeks. But she will also be at the next Marigold show on July. I think that's July 13th, because I'm pretty sure it's on Nikki's birthday.
That's the match.
Okay, that's the match that Julia got injured in. Okay,
Yeesh.
yeah. So apparently it's not as bad as they feared, but it sounds like.
I heard it was a really good match, though. He has not shut up about. I need to go watch the match just so I can mark out about it with him.
Right. Yeah, and then apparently, I know that Kyrie and Io sent flowers over before the show, and there's rumors that they may be on the next show because they're trying to get them. I guess Marigold has requested them, and because of the relationship with Julia, it's probably going to happen. And they said it's a possibility that they'll be on the next show. Venkin says the most funny thing about that match is how Bozilla got over in her first match in Japan. Lyric was talking about her yesterday because Lyric, I guess, was watching the show and she was tweeting about it. And I saw her tweeting about Bozilla and how good she is and how everybody loved her, and she has all the makings to be a huge star there. So that's really cool. Yeah. Apparently the chat says that Bozilla killed it. So that's very cool. David said, what is our opinion on Marigold promotion? I have not watched any of it.
I'm going to watch it. I will follow up. I will circle back.
I'm glad that women have, obviously more exposure for women. Sounds like Rossi Ogawa is not necessarily someone to trust. So I have my reservations about what he's doing, but hopefully the women there are happy, and that's an important thing. But he's definitely a character, and he's definitely the reason why some things haven't happened apparently, but it'll be. I'm glad that the women are getting to kill it, and it sounds like they had a really great show, which is awesome. And he said you should just watch any Sarai match. And Sarai, because she was in NXT for like 5 seconds, and she didn't do hardly anything in NXT. I saw a couple of matches, and she was phenomenal. It's just obviously with what she was given.
I just feel like that style of wrestling doesn't fit with WWE style of sports entertainment.
No, they try to make it work.
You could do their 7-day free trial and watch the Marigold show.
Yes, thank you for the reminder, Frank. That's really good because obviously Marigold and Noah are both on there. And then David said Rossi is a snake, classic promoter. Yeah. And Venkin
he is a wrestling promoter.
But they wasted Sarai when she was there. Daza says recommending Julia versus Hana Kimura back in 2018, 2019. Yes, and I know this week was the 4-year anniversary of Hana's passing. And I saw lots of people talking about how much, just sharing memories of her, which was really nice to see that people are still talking about her. And they should.
Fumi went to the show and he was talking with Jim about it. He didn't get all the way through the New Japan show, Pacific Rim show, but he went and he was talking about it. So
yeah, good.
It's nice that they do that every year.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Definitely. All right. I guess we should get on with the double
before we end up overrunning the
yes. Oh, and also Daza did answer us that movie came out in 2019.
Okay. I'll check it out. I feel like it sounds familiar. So
it does sound
I'm always looking for stuff to watch.
He said he's fun watching Sarai drop people on their neck.
Nice.
All right.
Lovely.
So, are you ready to get our lovely little
I'm ready. I'm always
slideshow?
ready.
We've got
Let's see.
visuals for you guys.
Here, let's see which one do I want to use. Let's go with this one. No,
All right. So
I don't
this
like that
match
one.
was added. Technically, it might have been added last night. It was technically added this morning is when I officially saw it. So we actually, I'm surprised. There's only, as of right now, there are only 2 matches on the buy-in. I'm sure something could be added, but the official graphic this morning had just the 2 matches. So we'll see if something gets added, because I was thinking maybe for the 5th anniversary, like maybe they'd add Nyla or like Kip Sabian or Matt Sydal, somebody who's been, because Matt Sydal tweeted the other day he is 1 win away from 50 wins in AEW. So I was like, this could be a good spot to do that. They could do something like that. So I was like, but if they're only doing 2 matches, the next match that we're going to talk about better get a lot of time. So this match got added. So if you didn't watch Collision, there was a 4-team tag match last night. It was Gates of Agony, House of Black, the Acclaimed, and the Infantry. And they were at some point, I don't remember. There's so much shenanigans happening in this match last night. It was not a fun thing to have to cover live because so much was happening. But at some point, Brian Cage came out there, and him and Billy Gunn were standing there talking to each other, and they were not talking, they were talking shit to each other basically. And then they were dived on, and all of them fell out. And so I watched the promo this morning because I'm not a huge Brian Cage fan. I don't dislike him as much as Nikki does. Nikki she's just not a fan of his. But they actually did cut a pretty solid promo, and they started with Bishop Khan, and he was fussing at the Acclaim, like he was like, this was our moment, this is our biggest match in the company, you ruined it for us, wait till we get our hands on you, type of thing. And so Brian Cage he puts over Gates of Agony because Bishop Khan is legitimately a prince. He's a prince from Cameroon. This is not a storyline thing, he's a legitimate prince. Which they've talked about for a couple of years, especially because Gates of Agony are on ROH a lot, and then they were the embassy when they were with Prince Nana, and they were the ROH trios, or I'm sorry, 6-man champions for a while, and then they lost to the Bang Bang Gang. But since they turned on Swerve and Prince Nana, they're not using the embassy anymore because that was Prince Nana's thing, and so now they are Cage of Agony is their new name. So yeah, so the promo was actually pretty solid. Toa was speaking. Toa is Samoan, so he was speaking. He spoke Samoan, and then he was like, yeah. So it was actually a solid promo from the 3 of them, which got me interested. I was like, okay, I was like, this is perfect pre-show match. Like, this should not be a match that's on the main card. It's maybe a Rampage match, but I think it will be fine here. So we have the Acclaimed. Billy Gunn will be coming to wrestle with him because Brian Cage said that Billy Gunn tried to get body guy heat last night, and basically he ain't want none. So now we have this match. So yeah. So I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. And I guess the winners of that match, it would make more sense for Cage of Agony to win. However, they still think people love the Acclaim when it's really they just love Anthony Bowens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true.
And Anthony Bowens did have a singles match against Brian Cage 2 weeks ago. So there's that too. And I told Nikki that I kind of wondered clearly it was to set up this, but I kind of wonder if they did have Anthony do a solo match or a singles match to see how people would respond to him as a singles wrestler, because the shtick with Max Caster has gotten real old. And he said some of course, more inappropriate stuff last night that's just annoying as hell. And I'm ready for Anthony Bowens. He's holding Anthony Bowens back.
You know, it's really funny. I said to Bob, I was like, they've been up everybody's bums about, saying the S word and the F word and all, and the fans chanting, you effed up and all of this stuff. It's like, did you guys listen to all what he just said? Because he was talking about putting tongues places that were, that was way more inappropriate than a kid hearing shit or the F word. I mean, I don't
Yep.
care if that's like what everyone wants to do and stuff like that. I'm not like offended. I think freedom of speech, turn it off, whatever. But to me, I was like, you're offended by people saying that, like, saying shit on your TV,
Right.
but like that was like a whole sex. He just cut a sex rap.
Yeah.
It was like
Well,
a
and
sex rap.
he constantly says, obviously he pushes, and most of it's just, and it's not, the things that he says are not edgy, they're just cringe. Is the thing.
Well,
That's the thing.
last night's was a little cringe. Like, I don't you mention it and I listen to it and I'm like, oh, okay, I see the line and this line and that line and that line were totally unnecessary and not funny at all and kind of uncreative and like low hanging fruity.
Oh yeah, he's all about
And
low-hanging
but
fruit.
this last night's was like, I was just like, that was just bad and kind of just gross.
Yeah, they've got.
It wasn't even original.
If they're gonna
It was
keep the
just kind
acclaim
of
together, but
gross.
that's the thing. I was like, dude, I don't think they understand that. Like, it's
not
the
funny
acclaim
anymore.
It's not the acclaim that's over. It's Anthony Bowen's and people sending it, and then the people who still like Billy Gunn.
Well, the raps used to actually feel like they were creative.
Yeah, no, they're extremely lazy. Now he says stuff because he wants he says stuff because he wants a reaction. He wants people to go on Twitter and talk shit about him.
He's getting a reaction. Ew.
Vinkin said he saw this match and he's just kind of just like, I don't care.
It's too early on the card to have a I need to go pee match.
Yeah, this is go get your snacks before the show. This is not a match that you would sell a pay-per-view with, to me.
Yeah.
So if they're doing this
should
be the first of the three. We do prefer the other.
Yeah.
And then Frank says that's so kind of like Billy Gunn too.
Yeah, it's not his fault. It's fine. Billy Gunn, I actually love. Like when he was here in Detroit, man, he was so great, and he was like so excited that he couldn't believe how over he was here, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like again, so
yes, we do.
We all, yeah.
He said, the P match is Jericho. Yeah, that's your P. This is go get your snacks before the pay-per-view starts, and then your P matches.
You're right. So this is get ready, get your everything set up on the table, get your snacks, get your everyone settled, make sure the dogs and cats and everybody have had their breaks.
Yep.
Then you watch the next one that we're gonna switch to, yeah?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go to this one.
And this one will have a nice amount of time because it probably should be on the main card, but we're going to put it on the buy-in because...
Right. Well, and like I keep trying to remind myself...
There's 2 women's match on the main card.
What I keep trying to remind myself is we were conditioned by the other company to think that the pre-show doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When it does. They have always tried to present.
Yeah, you're right.
People are been conditioned for decades to think that the pre-show doesn't matter. It's
AEW
he is
trying
to make it,
to
but
break
sometimes
that.
they do. But sometimes they do put matches on here that are very.
But they put the match that we just started with on there, and then
right,
like,
exactly.
I know what you're saying, but the match you just put on to start with,
right? Yeah. Exactly.
But this match could be really great. I mean,
I think this match will be fantastic. This is Thunder Rosa versus Deonna Purrazzo. We've seen this story kind of building up over the last couple of months. Thunder Rosa was originally brought in as Deonna's kind of like executioner, I think is how she worded it. And then Deonna lost the Revolution match to Toni Storm, and Thunder Rosa kind of was talking shit about it a little bit. And Deonna took exception to that. She turned on her. They brawled, had to be pulled apart. Then they wrestled each other. Thunder Rosa beat Deonna. Thunder Rosa has come out a couple of times during Deonna's matches, so this should be like they've got a really good story here.
I like the story.
Definitely technically sound performers here. They're both really good. I think Thunder Rosa has been on another level since she's returned. Her promos have been great, especially the last month or so. I think her promos have been really good.
She's like she found herself a little bit. I think she's coming back around to where she was a few years ago when she was really, really like hitting her stride. Maybe that time off lit a fire, and I hope that's like this could be a super duper match. And I like how fast they gave them a storyline. They didn't just throw this match together. This actually is coming with a story.
Yeah.
All 3 women's matches have stories to go with them.
They've all been, this is going to be really great. And we've got, Hassan says that Deanna should win here. Frank says that this match should have been on the main card.
I agree
David
with that.
says
But
this match should be on the main card. Give Thunder Rosa some respect. Absolutely. Yeah, this card.
I
this
hope
match,
they're
I
building to
definitely would have
something
put on the
for
main.
them on another pay-per-view future, because to
Yeah,
me,
I think we could run
this
this
is the
back.
main card. This, like, they've done such a good job building this.
Yeah, I'm hoping they.
This
I
will,
hope
you know
that-
what? This will definitely sell the pay-per-view. How about that?
Yeah. That yes, and especially if they're going to keep it at 2 matches, and this match gets the time it deserves, this could be really great. This could end up being like, even though it's not the main card, it could almost be a sleeper match. Like this match kind of could set the tone for the rest of the pay-per-view for the for the main card stuff. Like this match,
I genuinely did not know I needed this match until the two of them started beefing, and then I was like, I love this.
Yeah,
Deanna's great.
Deanna seems to be.
She's
like very thriving here. I've liked her in TNA. She had
very John Moxley feel about how she just walked in and kind of just like, boom, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. Yeah,
because she's her promos are on. Her veteran like abilities are. Some of the people from other companies who have come in have struggled to find their footing or not, or just disappeared entirely. She walked right in, like ready to go, kind of reminded me of like Dean Ambrose is dead. John Moxley is here. It's over now. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
like Deanna is so far removed from the NXT shit she was doing where they barely used her. And then she built herself up in TNA. She was one of the premier knockouts. She has, and we've talked about this several times. She has main evented pay-per-views like 5 or 6 times. Thunder Rosa is the first woman, along with Britt Baker, to ever main event a women's match in AEW on Dynamite. She did the first women's cage match with Britt. They have done these are 2 solid performers who, if you're gonna elevate the women's division, this is a match to do
I'm
that.
excited about this one.
If you want to feel like the women are, like to see what the women are and what they can do, this match I think is a really good example of that. I think that it will be I think that this will be a really good match, and I think that they will prove that it should be on the main card. I think a lot of people are going to come away from this match being like, why is this not on the main card? I hope that they run it back. Like maybe they'll get a bigger spot on it. Like maybe they'll push it. Maybe they'll force their hand.
Maybe they'll do something on Dynamite with them next.
Who do you think wins this?
I'm like staring. I knew you were about to ask me that. And I'm staring back and forth, and I'm like, I do think I tend to agree with Deanna, because I think that the story is that she's the thorn in Thunder Rosa's side, and it's too early for Thunder Rosa to beat her. I think it will keep because that'll be frustrating.
Yeah, and Thunder Rosa already has the 1 victory over her. So if Deanna
we know
wins
with her position, and I mean, she's been the champion before.
Right. Yeah.
So
and she's trying to get back into the title picture. And Deanna, but Thunder Rosa had the match at Dynasty for the title, and so she lost to Tosa. They both lost the title matches to Toni Storm, and then Thunder Rosa has beaten Deanna. So if Deanna wins here, then they're 1-1, and we can get a rubber match, hopefully on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. I feel like that'll make the story stronger, because I think Thunder Rosa winning,
they can kind of continue to maybe wrestle other people, and then just kind of, Thunder Rosa has cost Deanna matches. Deanna, like they could do that type of thing, and then I don't think this will be a forbidden. That's the only thing is the next pay-per-view is Forbidden Door, so I don't think this will be on a forbidden. This probably won't be a Forbidden Door match unless they do like Deanna and Thunder Rosa against some, CMLL women or something like that. Maybe they could do something like that. Like can they coexist?
Like continuing as they continue their story, forcing them together in that could be fun, because making them tag at a special show where they have to behave themselves could actually be fun.
But now that I say that,
depending
because
on
of the pay-per-view schedule, there is no pay-per-view in July. It's Forbidden Door, no shows. And then
they push Forbidden Door way the F back.
All in and all out.
Wait. Forbidden Door's in June, right?
It's June 30th.
Okay.
No July pay-per-view. All in is the end of August, and then All Out is now September the 7th.
It's the weekend after Labor Day. They moved it off the.
So perhaps they split them up for a couple months, bring them back together, and I don't know that they'll do it at Wembley, but they could do this at All Out. They could this could be an All Out match if they circle back, depending on how they handle it. But yeah, I guess because they probably won't do Forbidden Door, and then I don't see. It could be a Wembley match, but it depends on how many.
I don't know. It feels like I'm like, part of me is considering going to the burbs of Chicago and see now that they moved it off the holiday weekend. And I know somebody that lives in the general vicinity of the.
I think we know the same person.
Stadium, yeah, somebody that you might know, someone that might be coming around, who may or may not be an honorary broad already.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't decided which show I want to go to, if I want to go to any, but that one's like seeming like more and more attractive because it's not like the big thing, and they might put a bunch of good stuff on it because there's a lot of good stories going.
I think I would, if I was doing one, because I of course really want to do All In, but that's very expensive.
Well, I want to go to London because I have friends over there, and I can meet up with people. But that's not happening this year.
Yeah.
Because my cousin's getting married in December, and I'm going to be at that. So
I think if I were to pick a show, besides like Wrestle Dream would be awesome to go to, but maybe Full Gear's usually around my birthday. So
that's right. Yeah,
it was on my birthday last year. Yeah, I think it was last year. It was on my birthday.
One of the years we've been.
A few years ago, it was
one
on
of
my
the years
birthday.
we've been together. It was on your actual birthday,
right? And then I think that was like a week before, and I think this year it's gonna be like the week before or something like that. So that would be a cool one to go to. And then Daza says, I say a short, violent, hard-hitting match that ends in a double DQ to build up a stipulation match later, like a street fight. Ooh, that could be fun. A Jersey street fight, or they could
like it, and I'm not usually a DQ fan, but because they use them sparingly,
there is the collision. There is the Path to All In series that's in Arlington, Texas, and Thunder Rosa lives in, I believe, San Antonio. So they could do
not from there, but close.
Yeah. So yeah, not there, but right. So they could do
that would be smart series because that's a localish wrestler that would be a draw where they do a regular thing over that 6-week period.
That would be cool. So Venkin says Forbidden Door is potentially 3 women's matches. Please let us have it.
It's only had one for both of the first 2 years. So
yes, Daza said, I would love it. Yes, give us 3 matches.
Well, actually, okay, that's not true because there was the pre-show and then because Athena had the yes. So there were technically 2, but it was on the buy-in, not the it was 0 hour.
Yes. Yeah, because it's still only the buy-in in Vegas.
For Vegas.
Which I forgot. I almost got it 0 hour and I was like, wait, no, it is the buy-in only in Vegas.
Only for this is the buy-in.
Yeah. Daza says have them brawl to the back out of control and keep it going in the back during the pay-per-view and show them fighting backstage and can't be split up. I'm all
They have their own little anarchy in the arena at the beginning.
Right. Just with the
we start with anarchy, we end with anarchy. I think
that's good. Deanna said she's like, we're gonna start the show with me ending you. That's what she's been saying. So there we go. It just might take the entire
the
entire pay-per-view.
Bookend Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Am I right, baby? Come on.
Yeah. Venkin says I'm going to call it now. Mina versus Tony. I feel like that is happening. Mercedes against somebody, probably Azumi, and then Stephanie Vacker, and they are on Clueless.
They need to put Stephanie Vacker in like
I do think Tony versus Mina is probably happening at Forbidden Door. USVA guy said we got to get you to DC for Capital Collision. Yes. Please.
I wouldn't mind coming to DC
I would
either
love
because
you.
I went to school. I went to school in DC. I lived there. I lived in Northern Virginia for 3 years. I used to like the stuff in Baltimore is bumming me out because I used to drive over, like, because it was about 45 minutes from where I lived. I used to hang out down over there. Like, it was one of my favorite places to go to just chill out. The people there, the food, like, it's that's one of the places that I haven't gotten to take Bob that I lived for a while that I would love to bring him to because
I've never been to DC. So
It's
that would be just.
there's
I
so
would like
much
to go
cool
to have
stuff.
time to like explore things, and then also. And wait, when is Capital Collision?
That's a good question.
Because
Something like October. Is that no? Wait,
Is
is
that
that the middle of the summer? Maybe that's in July.
if it is baseball season, I could go to a Nationals game.
Oh yeah, or a Orioles game.
Yes, I think that's what 3 hours from DC. Is that what it is?
No,
Is that how
it's
far
like
Camden-
45 minutes.
I thought Camden was. Oh, you know what? I think I'm confusing it. I have a friend in Virginia, and she is 3 hours from Baltimore. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, so she must be south then of
Yeah,
DC.
she's in the Richmond area. So I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, she's like Central Virginia. That's
So
where
I think that's what I was thinking of. That's where the 3 hours, because
Yeah,
that's how
it's
far
3 hours.
she is.
Yes, it's
That's how-
3
okay,
hours
cool.
north of her. But from DC to Baltimore is like 45 minutes. I mean, notwithstanding Beltway traffic,
Sure.
which is a pain in the hole.
If one
but-
of them is home, then
Oh,
would
dude,
be
that would
another-
be so much
that
fun.
would
Plus,
be
one of
another
Bob's
reason, because I
best
wanna go to
friends
both-
lives.
I want to go to both ballparks. So if they're either or both of them is home.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's August the 30th. Oh, so see, right towards the end of
That's a
getting
good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good time. That'd be fun. We can all meet up.
Yes, finally.
We could have Powerbombshells Con in DC.
There we go. There we go. Venkin says Tony and Mina has been teased since before the Stardom US show. Right. So yeah, I definitely feel like that's a Forbidden Door show for sure, especially because of all the things that have been ramping up with Mariah.
I
And all
loved
that.
Mariah's match last night. That was
Oh, she was great. That was
that was
I
awesome.
really like
Thank
Layla
you
Hirsch
for
a lot.
letting them
Layla,
like wrestle.
yeah, Layla spins obviously is mostly in ROH, and
Yeah.
she's fantastic down there. Layla's really
She
good.
was great.
Yeah, I think
last
Layla,
night.
and I think that she was a really good opponent for Mariah, and the style
They
that Mariah
beat
does.
the crap out of each other. It was awesome.
They did. Yeah, it was a really good match. I really enjoyed
That's
it.
that strong style is my jam, and they pulled it off hard.
Yeah,
Like that
agreed.
was awesome.
I
Mariah,
agree.
that's what Mariah is. Like people, I'm really excited. That was
Yeah.
a cool match. I hadn't seen. I was like, we haven't seen Layla on the TVs forever, and I was like, oh,
In
that's
ROH.
right, she's ROH.
Yeah, she was in she's in ROH most of the time, but she was in the TV title tournament down there. And she's been doing she's with her and Rachel Ellering do tag team stuff down there sometimes too. They're like, so they do a lot. They've definitely been really big part of the women's division down there. Oh, I didn't know this.
That's awesome.
Venkin says that Layla was in Tokyo Cyber Squad.
That's
I think.
awesome.
And she was also in Japan.
Okay, then that makes a ton of
explains
sense.
a lot of her hard hitting stuff. Like I knew she did
That
amateur.
makes sense.
I knew that she did amateur wrestling in high school, if I remember correctly. And then now that you say that, I do think I remember hearing that she was in Japan.
I think she's like my size. That's the thing that's kind of fun about her. She's not huge. She's not like some ginormous gal.
She is a powerhouse though.
5'4", 5'6".
Originally when she was onto the main roster, and before Bryan Danielson said that the BCC was a He-Man woman haters club and they didn't want to allow women. Layla is somebody that I thought would be really good in BCC if they were going to add a woman. I thought Layla would fit in really well with that style.
Yeah.
And then Brian was like, we don't want women in our group. And then
we don't like girls. No girls allowed.
No girls allowed, but yeah.
All right. Yeah. We've gone through two whole matches. Let's get to the next match.
Well, I was like, let's get to this main card, our 5-year anniversary. In case you haven't heard, we could probably make it a drinking game for how many times they say this is the 5-year anniversary of Double or Nothing tonight.
I don't know. You might be dead by the uh-oh. Sam got wingly. See if she comes back to me. What just happened? I think I might have lost Sam. Yeah, let's talk about Claudio and Orange Cassidy. I'm sorry.
Oh, there we are.
There we are. I knew you would come back. It's okay. I was like,
yeah, I don't know what happened because I could see the Double or Nothing stuff. It's not raining here. Internet's just
Sorry, they just didn't want us to talk about whatever you had to say. They just
Apparently
didn't
not.
want to hear it. Trent is so angry that he just like blocked us out.
He sure did.
He ended
I'm gonna
Chucky's
listen. I'm
career,
gonna
and
talk
then
to
he was
Sue.
like, "No, you don't get to talk about my match, weirdos."
That's what I said. This is my chance.
You're almost there,
It
man.
almost was your chance. Listen, be on standby because who knows, that might happen again. So that's why I be on standby.
I'm gonna call it the solar flares because the sun has been incredibly active. So.
Maybe that's what's happening. It's not Mercury retrograde, so it's not that. But yeah, maybe it is the solar.
Or it's
maybe it is
like,
Trent's
hey,
anger.
Stephanie's talking on her thingy. I'm gonna spam her.
There we go. What I was trying to say is these matches are in no particular order. They're just off of a.
Well, this is what I got off of.
I think it's a projected list of what the match order is going to be. So we're just this is how we're picking.
And I try and go with like BR and people like that because they're carrying the pay-per-view. So that's kind of what I pick from.
Right. Which can make sense. So we're starting here, obviously, with Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. If there was going to be a grudge match, this would be the one. Not the grudge match that they had a couple weeks ago when they have never wrestled each other before. But you know, what do I know?
I mean,
I thought that was a little. So if you watched Collision last night, was it Collision or Rampage? I think it was Collision where he had the stuff with Rocky, or was that Rampage?
That was yesterday.
Okay, yeah. So they had the little thing backstage, and Rocky's like, "Hey, we're we're closer than friends. We're family. You know, we'll get through this and all this stuff." And Trent was like, "Don't ever interrupt me again."
Right.
It's like Rocky is gonna knock you out unless he joins you, because I still kind of feel like everybody is going to turn heel except Orange Cassidy. I kind of feel like, so I will not be surprised if Rocky turns heel.
Do you think Orange is going to end up in Don Callis' family, or do you
God, I hope not. I hate this implication. Trent would make he makes more sense than Orange does. I mean, I get why you want to have Orange. He's obviously a very good wrestler. He was the international champion for a record amount of days. I get why you would want to have Orange, but when you look at this group of people, Trent is the one who fits in. I mean, I guess Will Ospreay kind of doesn't fit in because he's like
but they're already planting seeds that he's
that's already like that's not going to last. And so that's probably why he's recruiting, is because he knows Will Ospreay they're gonna turn on him and kick him out or something. They're gonna like.
I just feel like Orange would do like the kind of thing where he like made
turn on him,
where he made Don Callis think he was gonna join him and then blew him off. That's like an Orange Cassidy thing in my mind.
He was recruiting John Moxley last night, so
yeah, that was funny. You gotta get Don Callis. Don Callis knows his job so well. That guy is like both of them, like. Because they were getting booed and you couldn't hear him, and they just like worked that perfectly.
Yeah, and then John Moxley's face the whole time is looking at him like, "Are you seriously gonna ask me?
Are you talking to me for real?
Like,
are you still talking to me?"
Yeah, it was John Moxley sold it perfectly. It was great.
Oh man.
I do feel like Trent's probably. I don't know. I kind of feel like Trent's probably going to get the win here, and I can't tell if it's going to be because of shenanigans. I don't necessarily know that Rocky's going to come, like if Rocky's going to be like, "Hey, don't do this," and then Rocky like helps him, or if Trent's just because he's on this mission to just be diabolical. That I feel like Trent needs this, like, to further what he's doing. Trent needs the win here.
I mean, to mess with people, you could have it be that Rocky costs Orange the win. Inadvertently, not like intentionally, but by trying to help, because he's still trying to keep the family together.
Yeah.
Best intentions.
Yeah, right.
Oops.
That's certainly a possibility.
I mean, it's possible. I agree with you. I think Trent's going to win this. However it happened, I don't think it's going to be clean necessarily, but I think because of the sort of the trajectory of where they seem to be sending him is that and Orange is such a huge, like everyone loves Orange Cassidy.
Right. Exactly.
So I think it's to make him like solidify the fact that he is like turned evil and angry that this is going to Trent.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be a really great match, though.
I do, yeah. These two, Orange Cassidy is one of those guys that shows out every time. He's like,
right.
He's just like that.
This match I'm really excited about because I love Jay. I mean, I love Death Triangle. I'm a huge fan of theirs. We love Switchblade in this house, in your house too.
Yes.
The Guns have become they've become a solid tag team, which is we've talked about this is the whole point. They put them with Jay and Juice, and
you can see that they're picking up stuff from Jay. I was noticing this. You can tell that they are paying attention to who they're with, and they recognize that they're with a really, really good, like, because their promos are, you can tell them, you can see them picking up little things from him, and it's improving them so much. They're really taking advantage of being with Jay. I have a lot of respect for them.
I've talked about it before, like they even, because obviously I saw them a lot on like Dark and Elevation, and they were already like decent, but they became a pretty solid team, and like then the more that they've gotten, like basically just the more reps they've gotten and the more they've improved. I mean, they have really turned into a really solid tag team, and I think that putting them with Jay and Juice was really smart. Hate that Juice is out, because they definitely, that is one thing, is Juice, they miss Juice. Like Juice was the glue that held them together. Like his
craziness made that, you're right, Juice was the juice. He just
I miss him so much. Vinkins says, do we have any idea on Juice? From my understanding, he is not going to be cleared for a while. Like this was a long term, like I can't remember, because he didn't have surgery right away when they took him off TV. Like I think they had to wait. Then he was having surgery, so he's supposed to be out for a while. I will say it is rumored that he is in Vegas. I don't know that they're necessarily going to use him. His wife has a match tonight. His group has a match tonight. He could just be there because it's a pay-per-view and he's there to support them. I don't know that he'll actually be, because we got the tiny little tease of him, like 6 weeks ago or maybe 2 months ago, when they were on, they were down at Jay's, they were at Jay's house, and Juice walked by the screen, and like my timeline was like, oh my God, Juice, and like blew up. So perhaps we get like a little sight of him, a little glimpse of him. I assume he's just there to support his wife and to support his friends. I don't think that he's cleared, from what I understand. And from the indications I saw, they weren't really sure if he was even going to be on TV or if he's just there to support. So I hope he's coming back soon, because God, I miss Juice.
Me too.
I love him so much. USVA guy says that beatdown Shingo gave Trent really hurt him so much, where he realized that his time in AEW wasn't going well. That's a fair point. That it definitely set him on a different trajectory, for sure. And I still think, we'll get to some other heel stuff later, but we've talked about it before. So if you watch regularly, you probably know what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to. But I'm really, really glad that Phoenix is cleared, because he was pulled from the Cinco de Mayo show that he was supposed to wrestle his brother. He got pulled last minute. He had that match 2 weeks prior with Beast Mortos, which was a fantastic match. So I'm glad to see, because when he was like, well, I have, when he was Pac was saying, I have people, and I was like, is Phoenix cleared, or is he talking about Commander? Like, is it gonna be the Commander here? And I was like, or is Phoenix? And then they did and I love that entrance so much. It pops me every single time when they come out. And then last night they had the Lucha Babies with them, which I loved so much. Those kids
so cute,
freaking adorable. And then last night they showed a promo afterwards that was on Twitter, and the kids were standing there with them, and then the kids each said something.
Oh, that's awesome!
And they did the Zero Miedo with them. Like, it was great.
That's awesome.
It was like, those kids are freaking adorable, and I was like, my timeline was fawning about them, my editor was fawning over them, like we were all so super excited for this. This is for the Unified Trios World Trios Championships, which I think it's funny, like Jay had them last night, he had them all snapped together into one big title, and then like the other night they had the wagon.
They had him in the wagon, which
was perfect.
That was my favorite thing in the world, because I live in a lake area, like people vacation, you see those all over the place. There's festivals and everything. So the Bob and I, that popped us hard. Bob's like, they got the coat, there's a name for it. But I was like, oh, the wagon full of belts. And we were just dying because it's like,
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's exactly what you should have.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see a title change here just because it's Death Triangle and they've had the titles before. They're phenomenal. They're probably the best trios team there is. But the Bang Bang Gang have really they've made this title and they have, I don't know that they lose it this early after having them unified. But if they do, we've seen Jay doing singles stuff, so this could get the title off him and let him do more singles things, but he's been doing that with the belt. So I think I'm gonna go with Bang Bang Gang here. I think they're gonna retain.
I don't know why. I just like, I'm looking at this. It's like they should retain, but part of me thinks that like Pac, he's gonna I don't know. I'm gonna go with Death Triangle. I'm gonna bold predict that for some reason that even despite Phoenix's health, which is questionable, and he does do the things, part of me like wonders if they get a beat down that makes them a little like unsteady.
You could also see Death Triangle taking these titles into Forbidden Door and wrestling who is the never open weight 6-man right now?
I can't remember.
I'm not been keeping. I tuned out before.
Now I feel bad.
I've tuned out prior to the BOSJ stuff because there was just a lot of things I cannot. I'm sure somebody in the chat can tell.
It's like
who the current never open weight 6-man champions are trios because it was.
I want to say that it was David Finlay or something like that.
It was Okada. It was Okada. Not Shingo, Tanahashi and Goto, right? Isn't that what it was? Not Goto, Ishii. And then they dropped it. Oh, Finken said it's not possible because of the CMLL beef.
Yeah, you're probably right.
There goes that theory. Never mind then.
So I guess Bang Bang Gang is retaining, and we'll just forget about it. You know what? That the intercarny politics trumped the outcomes.
Yes, Benkin says he prefers singles Penta. Man,
I
love singles Penta, but I love the Lucha Brothers. They're one of my favorite tag teams, and I love Death Triangle. So I like all variations. I like Commander and Penta together. Mm-hmm. I enjoy all variations we've seen of this team.
You know what? You're totally right. It's probably going to be Bang Bang Gang. No, I'm thinking about it. It'll still be a great match. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. I would say either way, That's a real bummer.
I would be happy either way.
I'm good. Yeah. I mean, both these guys kind of, but
right.
All right. On to the next. What's the next one?
All right.
Yeah.
So we have this match will be great because
it'll be an awesome match. The match that everybody knows the answer to.
Jon Moxley versus Takeshita in a IWGP World Heavyweight Championship eliminator match, which having an eliminator match on a pay-per-view is a stupid idea. I know why they're doing it. I know that's because of Takeshita is still DDT, and this is a New Japan belt, and
you're not defending a New Japan belt with a DDT guy on American soil.
Right. And so I don't like the idea of an eliminator match. I'm not thrilled about you. Most of you know I'm not a fan of the eliminator matches to begin with. I think I just don't care for them. I prefer the proving ground matches, except for now Tony has run proving ground matches into the ground because Kyle Sparks,
who was much ground.
Kyle Sparks, who was an honorary broad last year, he filled in for Mel. He is also an ROH historian, and he and I talk about ROH all the time. Mm-hmm. And they have done under Tony Khan's reign, they have done 46 proving ground matches. When it was in the Sinclair era, they had them roughly every 2 months, and they're having them on a weekly basis. And that's how and then sometimes they put one champion on TV since Supercard. They did have 3 last week, but they're all proving ground matches. And so I enjoy in theory, because it's either you either beat the champion or you last 10 minutes and you get the title shot. So that I prefer when he doesn't do 98 of them in a row. But
Right.
I don't care for the eliminator. So this match will be really great. Jon Moxley's gonna win, because I mean, Takeshita could, if it wasn't for the New Japan side of things in the DDT, if it wasn't for the political side of it, I could see Takeshita winning and then getting a title shot at Forbidden Door or something like that. But I don't see that happening because of the DDT stuff. And so I
honestly don't think that the DDT stuff makes a difference, which is why I don't think they should have made an eliminator match. I think they should have just made this a match and done something, because or whatever, because they didn't need to do that. They knew they couldn't do anything with it. And there's no thing going on right now where I see Takeshita overcoming Jon Moxley at this moment, no matter what the stakes are, regardless of politics.
Frank says, why is this an eliminator?
I don't know. We don't know.
It's a terrible, has a challenger won an eliminator match before? Adam Cole and MJF ended in a draw, which is then that led to them being a tag team. And then eventually getting the title shot at World's End. I cannot think of anything off the top of my head where someone has won an eliminator match. There may have been one early on, but nothing that I can think of off the top of my head, because they typically don't.
I mean, it'll be a good match, and I think that's all that matters. But obviously, Moxley.
Vinkin says Evil appears at the end. You don't put that. Don't put that on us, Ricky Bobby. What are you doing?
Why you put that in the universe?
USVA guy says opinion on Takeshita's negative AEW comments. From what I understand, they were mostly in kayfabe, because it was with a kayfabe publication where they still do that. It wasn't Tokyo Sports, but it was something else, and it feels like, from what I understand, it was mostly done in kayfabe.
I've also heard that from his DDT time that he likes several people that are young and stars as big as him in their promotion. He can be something of a diva. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was a combination. And then there's also the translation portion of the thing. So it's I don't know. Even Fumi blew it off from the part of the Pacific Rim thing that I saw. So I was like, well, if Fumi's blowing it off, I think that it's, but you're probably right. It was probably, I didn't even think about the idea of it being in kayfabe. Because that makes more sense.
Because it was a set.
Because it's leaning in. It's this matchup, and it's leaning into the thing that we all have, where why does Takeshita never win matches?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think...
I'm not saying it's not true. Maybe he is unhappy.
There's always a little bit of truth in the kayfabe stuff. So I do feel like there is some of that in there. And he even went back and he clarified some of his comments, because they said something about, because I think he said he wasn't having fun. And he was like, no, that's not what I meant. He was like, I mean, I had to work harder and I have enjoyed, I forget exactly what he said, but he clarified what he said. Who knows if it was just because he was getting heat from it or whatever, which is certainly possible. And then Hassan is schooling us over here and he is telling us all the eliminator matches that have been won. So thankfully, Hassan is here.
Thank you, Hassan. That's why you're here. That's why we love and need.
So Hassan says Riho beat Britt Baker.
Okay.
Mayu beat Thunder Rosa.
All right.
Oh wait, that's not it. And then Hassan says Lucha Brothers beat the Young Bucks. Wow. So thank you for this is why we rely on you guys, because sometimes we forget.
This is why you need to be here.
Clearly. Hassan said, I feel like there's no chance Takeshita wins this eliminator because of the Japanese wrestling politics. Yep.
I unfortunately,
I think they just wanted to have this match on the card, so they did.
They had to make it into something that was meaningful, and I get it, but it's it'll be a good match.
It's gonna be a banger. This
is gonna be awesome, and all this. That's fine. I have no problem with that. I mean, again, the reason that we watch AEW is because of the wrestling, not the other stuff. So this is the wrestling right here.
Yeah, the wrestlers are gonna wrestle here.
Oh yeah. All right, and this is the
This
let's
is the
go to
pee
the
break
bathroom
match if you're Venkin. This is the
My
pee break match.
match.
See if the dog needs to pee, which sucks because I love 2/3 of this. I love 2/3 of the people in this.
2 out of 3 of the people that are involved in this.
So here we have Venkin has already weighed in.
Yes, I know.
So we have the match for, as Jericho now calls it, the for the win or the for the world
For
championship.
the world.
And he says he's the longest reigning for the world champion at
34
34 days. He changed the belt, which I heard Taz did not know he was gonna do. I don't know how true that is, but knowing Jericho would not surprise me if he's like, Taz will be cool with it. We've known each other for 9 million
The way
years.
he's
I'm just
acting right now is like, I know that he's getting the learning tree over with some people. I'm still
with
not
me.
there.
Not with me. He's not.
I'm
Mostly
not
it's
there.
because I'm tuning it out and I'm not even paying attention to what he's saying. And I'm not paying
Yeah.
attention to Big Bill. And so maybe if I was paying attention, it would get over with me a little bit more, but I'd see it and I'm like, I don't care. And so I look at my phone or just zone out. Because I don't like it. I want Jericho to take a break. I want him to go away, but he's not going to because he thinks he has heel heat, not go away heat. So anyway,
Yeah.
we have Hook and Shibata, who I love both of them. Shibata, oh my God, when Samoa Joe called him Speak and Spell the other day, it popped me so hard because
makes you want, like, I think somebody else suggested this is have like Joe come out and just kick Jericho's ass and be like, there, the learning tree's over.
This is the right. Just chop down the learning tree.
I just chopped down the learning tree. Go about your business.
After that, the segment with Joe, Hook, and Shibata, I was like, please make them a trios team.
Yeah.
I would put the sorry, Bang Bang Gang and Death Triangle, put the trio championship on Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. Somebody was telling, one of my other editors was like, if I'm Hook, this would make me not re-sign my contract. If they made me wrestle give Jericho to me as my last feud, I would leave when my contract was up. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, so this is a match that's happening. Again, I love 2/3 of the people on this card. I mean, in this match, I don't care about Jericho.
I mean, I hope he drops the belt, but I don't know if they're going to have him drop the belt right now.
I kind of thought maybe that Hook would win. But then I was like, does that make this whole thing even more pointless? But I don't know that I feel like Big Bill will probably help Jericho retain and he'll prove himself. Or someone else will come out and they'll add a new member, but I cannot figure out who the hell else they're going to add to the learning tree. Like who else could they add to this? I don't know who they could. I mean, because they're not going to, they can't even find a place for Ricky Starks on TV. So it's not going to be him. And that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, who do you put? I mean, I guess they could bring up somebody from ROH maybe, but I was just like, who? Maybe Kip Sabian. He's somebody that they don't use. Perhaps they get him in a storyline ahead of Wembley. I'm like, who do you even add to this group? I mean, perhaps we'll find out tonight. Maybe they'll add somebody else and that's how Jericho retains, but I don't know. Oh wait, hang on. We have one comment here. Why is this not? I do want to get to Frank's comment, but Daza had a comment that said, can we let Jericho go back to WWE and be in their Hall of Fame? Listen, I watched it. That used to be my answer for everything, but now that I have to watch WWE, it's like I won't be able to escape him. If FTR goes back to WWE, I will not be able to escape them.
I can't get away.
Frank says, Jericho, go away, the fake smile, the fake everything. And I know why he's doing it. I know it's the character. I get it. But also, I don't care for it. I don't like it.
It's not working for me.
No, me either. Vincent Samojo is the greatest person on the mic in that company. Please. I love him.
He's
so
up
much.
there. How about he challenges for the FTW championship? He comes out and puts everybody straight and
there we go.
Do it.
Yes. Nikki said, Joe, oh yes, this was really funny because Joe Joe said, "You ain't gonna get away with telling me my floral shirt looked bad." By the way, his floral shirt looks good on him. Yes, Samoa Joe carries the floral shirts very well. But yeah, Shibata told Renee that that floral shirts don't look good on big guys or some comment like that.
Yeah.
So Samoa Joe was like, "Not on my watch. Don't you dare say that." Frank
Don't
said,
tell
"Maybe
Samoa
they'll
Joe
bring
how
in."
to dress.
No. I'm not even putting those comments up on the screen because I'm not adding that to the universe. No. Please don't. I'm not putting, we're just going to pretend that you didn't say that and try to put that in the universe like that. But yeah, I assumed I would like to see Hook win here.
No.
Or I'd even love to see Shibata win here, but I think it's Jericho to keep his dumb storyline going. Either Big Bill is going to help him retain to continue to prove himself, or somebody else is going to do it and they're going to add a new member tonight. Because if you're going to have a learning tree, you got to have more than one person sitting under it. So, and his name is not, and it's not the person he used to tag team with.
All right.
It better not be, or I will be in a rage.
All right. A good match.
A good match. A good match. And so we got some of the fancy graphics that AEW put out because they look cooler. And so I like these fancy graphics that they did.
Yeah, they're fun. They're a lot of fun. I like these.
I like these graphics that they do for the pay-per-views.
They should do this more often.
They should. So we had the AEW International Championship with Roderick.
It's the 5-year anniversary, Sam. So
it is the 5-year anniversary. If you had not heard,
in case you missed 5 years.
In case you haven't been paying attention. We have Roddy Strong defending the title against Will Ospreay. And I also want to point out Nigel McGuinness accidentally slipped up and said Undisputed Era last night.
I heard that.
And then he corrected himself.
And he immediately corrected himself and said, "I'm sorry," but we were both chuckling. We were like, yes. Undisputed Era. He caught him. He caught himself. It was hilarious.
It was great. He was like, "Listen, I used to work there." Okay.
It was such a genuine moment, and it was okay because he immediately was like, and we were all like, "Yep, we get you, dude. We do it all the time." We try really hard, but it happens.
Vinkin, he better not. Why do y'all keep wishing this crap? Vinkin says Bobby Fish is going to return. No.
Man Fish. We don't need anybody else.
Old Man Fish. Old Man Fish did tweet about Kyle O'Reilly's match the other day, and I was like, he tweeted the graphic, and I was like, you better quit. I know Kyle O'Reilly is your friend, but you better quit angling for a job, because I know that's what angling. Yes, I didn't. Pun was not intended.
Jeremy would be so proud.
The pun wasn't even intended. It was
It's awesome. That's the best
accidental pun.
That's the best kind.
But no, Old Man Fish needs. I sent the tweet and I was like, why is Old Man Fish tweeting about this match? And another writer said, how can he send tweets on a rotary phone? Listen, this is not ageism. Just old man jokes about Bobby Fish are really funny.
It's funny. They will
never not be funny to me.
You send some on Linux, okay? Just leave him alone.
This match I think is going to be really. Did they ban Undisputed from ringside or no?
I don't remember. I hope so. That'd be awesome because then they could wrestle.
That's what I'm saying. Can we? Maybe they'll do that before the match. Can we have Wardlow and company and the Don Callis family?
Just stay the F away from the match.
Just
so we can
ban everybody. Don't let Don Callis come out there. I'm sure he's going to be on commentary. But don't let.
Oh, he'll definitely be on commentary.
Don't let them come out there. Don't.
But I think that kind of makes it better if Will wins and he is on commentary because then he can kind of be like, F you.
Oh, yeah. That part will be perfect. I just want them all banned from ringside. I want this match to be a clean win because I think Will Ospreay, I think, is winning this. I think it's.
I do too.
I think it sets him up to keep him away from the title picture with Swerve. And they're going to do something else at Wembley, especially if something happens later on in the show, which I'll get to, and we'll bring it back to this. I really like Roddy a lot, but he has not done anything for me, has not really done anything for this. He's had some good matches, so I guess I shouldn't say that, but I just feel like it should not be.
He's not Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay needs a belt or to be going for something. So this
Yes.
is a
I
good,
feel like this is the
and
if
he
does-
can
if
do
takes
for
the
me.
pack-
He is like gonna do what Orange Cassidy did with the belt, which
right.
is
I was gonna say if he takes the pack route where he's defending this, and because Will obviously lives in the UK, so if
yeah.
he wants to show up at Rev Pro and defend his
Oh, yeah.
title against somebody there, he could, especially going into well, I would say especially going into Wembley because they could do it that weekend, but then you also don't want to risk Will Ospreay getting hurt the night before Wembley. But they could potentially have him go wrestle because they did the crossover show. They did the shows a bunch of the British indies did shows around All In, and people were showing up at shows. Like Adam Cole showed up at a show, and they did some stuff, so they could potentially do something like that. But Will has to obviously be careful. But I feel like Will is the person to. I feel like he's going to elevate, like you said, elevate the title like Orange Cassidy did. And I do love. Hold on, I will side note you. Yes, I do love Red Dragon. I love Kyle O'Reilly, but Bobby Fish, I could do without some Bobby Fish. That's all I'm saying.
I think we're good where we are right now. I think we have a good balance. I don't
I
think
do
that
too.
bringing new guys in. This roster's so much. You can't they can't find time for the guys they have already. You can't be pulling new guys in.
And I feel like even regardless, I feel like Will was winning all along, but that promo that he cut on after Dynamite, and then they aired it last night where he talks about how his soul has merged with this title. Like, I was like, oh hell yeah. He like I already thought he was winning the belt, but after I saw that, I was like, oh hell yeah, he's totally winning this belt. Like, yeah, I was like, you can't say these things and then not have him be the champion. And I think, and then if Max is coming back, they could, well, that's what I'm saying. They could finish some of this devil stuff. Perhaps, what if they have MJF return and he costs Roddy the title?
That could happen, I guess.
Literally just thought of this. But I don't know what Adam Cole's status is as far as him being cleared. I know he stood up from the wheelchair, but then we haven't really seen him since.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know.
I hope not.
I don't know what his status is as far as in-ring stuff. And he was looking at Wardlow, like they're definitely teasing that stuff, but they have to wrap up. I mean, I was like that. They don't have to wrap up the devil storyline. They could just pretend it never happened. And I would be okay with that. But knowing AEW, they're going to finish that. So you could have MJF return and take out Roddy because he was one of the people who helped take him out at World's End. But then you risk Wardlow murdering MJF on live television.
Yeah. So
there's also that.
Since they're in Vegas. So
Yeah,
trauma.
like where all of this started. And Wardlow referenced it like 2 days ago. He quote tweeted a video from something, and he said I can't remember exactly what he said, but he kind of implied how everything went off the rails that night. Basically, because I mean, understandably, like I totally get why Wardlow hates MJF because he ruined his momentum that night and it killed everything for him. And they didn't know. And then it took him forever to get back to that. And then he got it, and AEW dropped the ball with him. And then they've done it 3 times now. And Wardlow has not been the same. And a lot of it started because of the shit with MJF. And so Wardlow still seems very angry, which rightfully so. I totally get it. He's not wrong. But I feel like being in Vegas with MJF and Wardlow is probably not a good thing.
It's not what I would. It's not what I would pick.
Not what I would pick. So
I would not be feeling like that was setting my talent up for success.
Yes, I really just hope this is a clean finish. I don't necessarily know that it will. Frank even points out that Ospreay versus Strong will be a banger of a match, some cheating at the end, but Will takes it. Yeah, I could definitely see that being the case. Yeah, I don't know what Adam Cole's injury status is. Vinkin says Adam Cole is out, Britt is out, Jamie's out, Hobbs is out, Kenny Omega's out. Eddie Kingston. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of, but it also shows you how deep that roster is, that they still have these kind of cards with those stars being
that
injured.
many people off.
They are, I mean, they do have a bloated roster, but when they do lose some really top talent, they have really good talent that can step in and take those spots and help them out. So yeah, but yeah, this match is going to be great. I think Will wins here. Hopefully MJF does not come back here. I don't think it would be smart, but who knows?
Good
And then
on.
here's another fancy poster that we have. We have
Woo!
Toni
Super
Storm is
fancy.
putting the women's championship up against Serena Deeb. And this should be another kind of technical, not super technical as much as like Deanna and Thunder Rosa, but also obviously this is Serena's style. And I think we'll see a lot more wrestling out of Toni than we typically see with her because she is a lot of character type of stuff. But I think it'll be a really good match. I think Serena is somebody who's overlooked in the division. And Toni cut an incredible promo last night. That promo when she was making fun of Serena for having seizures, which, you know, but just the promo itself was just phenomenal. She's an incredible promo, and I think this match is going to be really, really good. And I think, yes, I agree that Vinkins says that Toni isn't losing till it's Mariah. Yes, and I assume that happens in Wembley is my guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and so yeah, I think this is going to be a really solid match. I think Toni has finally, because you know there were some there's been a lot of talk about how like the character's been good, but the wrestling's not been as great, or her wrestling is good, but then the character's not as great. And it feels like she's finally kind of merging them together and is getting on track with both of those. And she's becoming, the thing with her character being so good is she's becoming a baby face.
Mhm.
And so, which I guess kind of fits because Serena is more of a heel. She doesn't get the respect she deserves. You know, she's coming for she despises Toni. So she is kind of the heel in this story, even though Toni's technically the heel, but she's so damn over that I think they're gonna have to turn Toni. I was like, I think they're just gonna have to. Yeah. He said Frank says the gimmick is she's too over.
Yeah, that's true. I hear it from a lot of people too. It's like you're supposed to be like hating the one, but it's backwards. And it's just because Toni's gotten her thing over so well that it's hard to. I don't see her losing. I think the match will be good. But I don't see her losing.
Yeah, and Vinkin says that because he says obviously what's going to happen. The Mina match at Forbidden Door is going to make Mariah turn on her.
Well, there you go.
I think it'll definitely play into it for sure. And and it feels like Mariah is going to actually be the one who is the heel and Toni is going to be the baby face. We thought it was going to be the other way around by the time that happened, but it feels like it's going to be baby face Toni versus heel Mariah. Which I think
was kind of the way that it should have been because she's trying to take over her personality.
Right.
So
exactly. So it's
actually coming around pretty well.
Yeah. So. Like the story has been great. I have really enjoyed it. Colin is here. Hello, Colin.
Hi,
Thanks
Colin.
for joining us. Yeah. Well, and then Frank says that Toni is the most eye-catching thing on the show. She's the third most eye-catching visual in pro wrestling behind Bianca and Jade. Oh my God, Bianca and Jade, they are incredible and they looked incredible. And then everybody was talking about it on Friday with obviously they had to be dressed completely covered and you could still see Jade's abs, the outline of her abs through her gear because her abs are just so insane that you could see them through her gear. But they're stunning. I love them. I'm so glad that Bianca and Jade have the tag team championships over there. They are a fantastic team, and I hope that they give them a lot of time because they are so good together. But yes. Colin is asking why Thunder Rosa and Deanna are on the buy-in. That's the pay-per-view match. Yes, we had that discussion a little while ago. And everybody is right there with you that match should have been on the main card. We're hoping that they force their hands and run it back somewhere on a pay-per-view. But then the pay-per-view schedule gets tricky, and so we're trying to figure out where this happens, but yes. And then Vinkin says it's because Jericho needed to be on the card.
Probably true. Except that he didn't. That's the saddest part.
You got to get the highest paid wrestler. Well, at the time, I don't know if that's still true now that Okada is there and Mercedes. But at the time, Jericho was prior to those three coming in, he was the highest paid wrestler.
He probably hasn't his stupid contract that he has to be on like every pay-per-view.
Probably.
He's the guy that would do that. All right, I'm moving on. Here we go.
This match, I'm way more excited. Like I already thought it was going to be good, but then now I'm way more into this match. So we're getting and I love this poster. So we're getting Adam
Me too.
Copeland versus Malachi in the
The barbed wire death match, right?
Yes, it's like it's like
it's a cage. It's a barbed wire cage match.
I can't read
That's
the
what it
writing,
is.
but yeah, I think it's barbed wire cage match, which
Sorry.
like. The match is already going to be cool, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, like how they're having this and Anarchy on the same card.
Barbed wire steel cage match. There we go.
It's interesting that they're having both of these matches on the card. Obviously, Anarchy is more of a street fight and takes place all over the place. So but it was kind of cheesy, but I really loved that spot with Malachi the other night. I thought it just added a whole new layer to this match. And I think it's something that Malachi needed, and that it's or Adam Copeland. I feel like I tweeted it then that Gangrel has got to be with him. Gangrel's got to be in you have to bring him in here. And I feel like it goes back to the comments Adam Copeland said a few weeks ago that he wanted Gangrel for WrestleMania a few years ago. And WWE told him that they didn't want to do it because nobody would remember the Brood, which is that company relies on nostalgia.
Kidding me? As soon as he started cutting these promos, we both went, "Oh, is he going back to being Brood Edge?"
That's what it sounds like.
The first thing we thought of. Are you kidding?
Yeah, exactly. And
nobody remembers.
And even Adam said, so that's what Adam said. He was like, oh, the fans won't remember. And he was like, but then I wrestled Matt Cardona, and the pop he got because the fans remembered him being an edgehead. And like, that's such,
I actually have loved where he's been going lately.
Yeah, for WWE, they're a company who, I mean, they have whole nights related to nostalgia where they bring back old wrestlers. They have DX's 25th anniversary. They have the DX 25th anniversary.
But no one will remember that.
Yeah, but I'm like, and the fans won't remember the Brood, one of the biggest things in the early 2000s.
You kidding? Like, do you understand how emo and edgelord we were in the 90s?
Right. And then even before that, Gangrel was with Matt and Jeff Hardy. So I was I joked that this is how they'll bring Jeff Hardy back, because Gangrel will go get Jeff Hardy, and they'll come back, and they'll just be, since Christian is doing his thing, they'll bring Jeff Hardy and Gangrel will have both of them. But yeah, that's the dumbest thing. And I was telling my friend, I had forgotten to tell her, and she was like, "Are you kidding me? They really told him that?" And I was like, "That's what Adam Copeland says." And I was like, "It's because they didn't want to they just didn't want to pay him and bring him in."
That's dumb.
That's all it comes down
crazy.
to. Except for AEW has used him a couple of times, but I feel like you have to have Gangrel here. Like you can't not have him, or you have to have. And then somebody told Mikey Ruckus that they want to hear him do his version of the Brood entrance. And he responded, and it was like a man on fire or something. And he was just talking about, so I don't know if he's hinting that he's already done it, or that he would kill it.
He would kill it. I mean,
he would. This match is going to be fun. And then Adam Copeland cut the really great promo last night. And he was really like, good. If you lose, is our buddy and Brody gonna come join me? And so I was like, are we forming a new Brood here? What is happening? What happens if Malachi loses? And then what happens if Adam loses? I guess there's not really a stipulation for that. I guess he just beats Adam. And then I really hate that Julia is not here for this, because I think Julia and Gangrel could be a lot of fun together.
Yeah. Yes.
They would be really fun. But yeah, I'm going to be very mad if we don't get Gangrel. I really, even if it's just the entrance, but I want Gangrel here. I feel like, or even he pops up in the match somewhere. I don't know. Vinkin asked if there was a Malachi Black contract update. I believe he is under contract until 2027, because I saw some speculation last night thinking Malachi was going to lose, and that means he's going back to WWE because he wants to be with Rhea. But from what I understand, I don't know how correct that is. Yes, I have seen a lot of people speculate too, Vinkin. I believe someone said that they think he's under contract till 2027. I think he signed a 5-year deal when he came in. I don't know for sure if that is correct, but that is the latest I have seen is 2027, but I could be wrong. It may not be. But yeah, some people were saying that too, that they thought, okay, if Malachi loses, he's going to go back to WWE, and Adam is going to take over House of Black, which even if he does, Julia is still the leader of House of Black. I don't care what
Mhm.
anybody says. We all know Julia is the leader.
I'm kind of bummed she's not around, just like you said, because
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yes. But I'm really excited for this match. I think this match is going to be a lot of fun. But I'm wondering if they do it earlier in the card to keep it separated from Anarchy. Not that Anarchy is the same as far as there's no cage, but I feel like these two matches are going to be really intense with what they do. I feel
Mhm.
like you've got to give them room to breathe. Like I feel like this match maybe should go on a little bit early. Not like second or third, but like earlier enough that it's away from it. Like they got to get a and usually Double or Nothing is kind of long. It's like, you know, the pay-per-views are 4 hours. So
5
give them at
hours.
least an hour and a half
Yeah.
away from each other, and they're gonna have to give people a minute to catch their breath on top of that.
Mhm.
That's the thing, is I don't know who is gonna have the lucky draw following this match, because the fans
Let's
are
see
gonna
what we
be
have on our thingies that we
Yeah.
have predicted. Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, please keep that match away from this match, because I need the fans to be up and ready, and you're gonna take all the wind out of their sails. If you
Yeah, I
do
hope
that.
they don't do it like that. I hope they
So
don't.
they still have not officially given us the rundown of the triple main event. There have been 2 graphics. One graphic makes it look like it will be Willow, Anarchy, or Willow and Monet, Anarchy, Swerve. Then I've seen another graphic, and it's Anarchy, Willow, Monet, then Swerve and Christian. So I don't know what I assume that they haven't announced it, but I assume regardless, Swerve versus Christian closes.
Yeah, this
out.
seems what they're leaning towards from everything. Even when I was trying to pull pictures, that's what the picture kept coming up as the main event. So
yeah, so they're showing, and the way he talked about it the other night, it feels like, unless they do like Death Before Dishonor, where we get more than halfway through the pay-per-view and they're like, Willow and Athena are gonna main event, our double main event, which they did do that. So there's always that possibility that they do that. But I assume it's gonna be this order. But you know, if they do Adam Copeland right before this, it would almost be cool to see Christian in a match right behind Adam Copeland, especially if they bring Gangrel in. That would be a really cool segue, especially because people are like, when is Christian joining Edge? Like, or Adam Copeland, like, when are we getting them as a tag team? So, but yes. So maybe that's why it's separated. But if this is the match order, where this is how we're going, we have finally, a year in the making, we have Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné is making her in-ring debut for the first time in a year this week. Willow has been killing it. They did the contract signing, and Willow had the phenomenal line as "I walked out champion and you didn't walk out at all," which I thought was just, she nailed that delivery. Renee had a great reaction. She was like, "I'm leaving." And then Mercedes had this look on her face like, "I can't believe you have the audacity to say that to me." And then she put Mercedes through a table. Like, I thought that whole segment was great. I thought they did a really good job. And then they had Willow. They had Willow come out last night. We heard from her because Mercedes came out on Rampage after, because Willow and Chris wrestled the main event at Rampage. Then we have Mercedes come out. Mercedes is holding the title in her hands and is like, "This is the future." Like, I like the build for this match. I'm still really annoyed that this is not closing. That out of the 3 matches, this feels like the main event, just because of the story, everything you have leading into it. Again, Swerve and Christian will be great, but I feel like this should close the show. Yes, and Vinkin says it was against Anna Jay and Alex Windsor, and Alex Windsor looked great. I thought, well, Anna has really improved. The more she's been getting in there, the better she looks, but Alex looked great too. But yes. So what are your thoughts here?
I think that obviously you can't bring Mercedes in and not have her win her first match. I mean, Megan, I think so. This is the easiest one to predict. I think the Moxley match is actually easier to predict, but this is definitely right there.
I think it most likely will be Mercedes. I could see it will not. To me, it would not hurt Mercedes to lose this match. It would help Willow.
Not necessarily.
Willow defeating Mercedes when she's healthy would do more for Willow. I don't think that's the route they're going to go. I I would have Willow win here. I don't think that's
I don't think that's
what they're
didn't
doing.
bring in
I don't like Willow having like 4 title defenses. I hate that. And I know part of it was because Julia got injured. And so it kind of moved their timeline a little bit. Yeah, it's probably going to be Mercedes. I think it should be Willow, but it would be but no, and see, and another reason I think it's going to be Mercedes, I still think this is where Chris Statlander turns. I still feel like Chris Statlander's turning heel. I think that's been the plan, but when Trent whispered something in her ear, I think he was like telling her,
now
get ready. Like, and then that's when they kind of, and it's interesting, they kind of quit doing, because they were doing the attacks and stuff, and then Julia got hurt and they've stopped. They haven't done them anymore, but I think that's on purpose. I still think that Chris is turning, and I feel like Chris is gonna cost, because she's jealous of of Willow rather, and I think I could see her, not that Mercedes needs help winning, but I feel like Mercedes and Chris have something going on, and it fits with everybody turning heel and best friends except Orange. And I still think I've been saying that Chris is going to be the one, especially because we also had that moment in Jacksonville where Chris put her hand on Mercedes and Mercedes thought it was Willow and she turned around and slapped her.
You're right.
And so there's that. And so I feel like this is where Chris turns. And then, but I'm so excited for this match. I'm really
be great. I'm excited.
Really excited. We have some comments over here that we'll get to before we change over. Colin says that he feels sorry for Willow. Vinkin said he's curious if it'll be a clean win. We have Jizzle. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Mercedes needs to win, and match 3 should be for the world title in a year. That's not a bad idea. And you kind of have Mercedes going into Forbidden Door as the champion. I feel like they're doing. And he says, Venga says it would make sense for Mercedes to have help. Yeah, that's why. Unless it's not Chris, and this is how they bring in Camille and or Megan Bain, who is still supposed to be coming at some point. she's busy. So, but I feel like it's Chris. I feel like it makes more sense for it to be Chris, because Chris is Willow's best friend. Chris was the champion 2 champions ago. She was the TBS champion. Stoke kind of has been interfering and stuff like that.
Well, and it gives you a feud between Willow and Statlander so that they don't shelf Willow entirely.
Right. It keeps Willow on TV.
She's such a good draw for the women's division.
Right.
And I don't think that she's keeping this belt here. I think that this has to go to Mercedes and starts a new thing, and she's got to start making her run at bigger things. But yes. I think keeping that would make sense to keep Willow active in the storylines, because she's popular and you should keep her present. So. Right.
And then Vinkin says, if I was booking, I would make Megan interfere and help Mercedes win. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Megan. She's gone back. Didn't she go back to Stardom? I mean, I know she's been doing GCW stuff, but I feel like she was in Stardom recently. I don't know if she's still there.
I don't know
but
anything about her.
Honestly. I think that I think she did. She's been doing stuff in GCW, and I saw her a couple weeks ago because she beat Broski Jimmy. And then, but I feel like she's got another match coming up. Vinkin says nope. Maybe, you know what? I think it might have been Lyric, and she might have been saying these were the Stardom matches to watch with her. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. So yes. So I don't know. She's supposed to be coming in. Camille is signed. Camille is supposed to be coming in at some point. So perhaps here, I don't know.
They do have a tendency to do big things on Double or Nothing.
They sure do, because this is where Jon Moxley debuted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could definitely see that. And then I will bring up this side note real quick that I just saw before we get to the next thing. There has been a report that Yuta is in Vegas. Obviously, he's been out of action since January the 10th. That's where he's been dealing with concussion symptoms. It may just be, they said it doesn't know if he's returning or he's simply visiting. Hopefully he is visiting, and then he will be on ROH to vacate that damn title.
Yeah, right.
And it's time to. I wrote an article finally and said it is time for Wheeler Yuta to vacate. I love him, but he needs to focus on his brain health. That is way more important.
And they need to get the belt back in circulation if they're going to use it. Exactly. All right, I'm flipping. You ready?
Go ahead. I'm ready.
Flip.
All right. This was another. I love this little poster. I think this was a really cool one.
I love this poster. It reminds me of some old ones that I've been looking at from books I've been reading. So
yeah, I think it's a really cool one. So we've talked about this a little bit already. So this was the match that Eddie was supposed to be in. He has been replaced by Darby, who was apparently not necessarily 100% clear, but they got him in. Tony says he wouldn't have put him in the match if he wasn't cleared. But then afterwards, Darby's like, I gotta go to the hospital. So again, clearly he's still healed. Apparently he's still healed. I still think Daniel Garcia should have been the one in this match. So it's Team AEW, which is Danielson, FTR, and Darby versus the Elite, which obviously is the Young Bucks, Okada, and Jack Perry. I think this match is going to be a lot of fun for sure.
It usually is. It usually delivers.
I can't wait to see what they do as far as like what's already been filmed, and like I'm sure like the Bucks are probably going to be wearing their. Actually, the whole entire team Elite will probably all be wearing the Bucks' new
Reebok.
shoes. They're all gonna have Reebok with their gear. I'm really curious to see what the Young Bucks gear is gonna look like, because they do, like in Vegas, they always do the really cool gear. Like they've done the Elvis, the white gear that had the white cape and stuff. They have like that. They always have really cool gear in Vegas, and so I'm excited to see what they do and if the four of them like wear matching outfits.
Yeah, they've got Okada in the mix, and this is his first Double or Nothing and everything, so it could be really fun. Because Okada tends to bring it when on big events too.
Yeah, he really does. I feel like this is, and he's never really done anything like this.
Yeah,
so I
not
think
like
this will be not on this level, and so I think like Okada
should be fun.
I think Okada's just gonna have like, I hope he wears. It would be. Maybe he'll bring back the Long Boys for a one time only.
Oh my God, everyone would flip the F out. It's like, oh my God, he's evil Okada's wearing pants again.
Where's his red hair? Maybe
full time. Oh my God.
I hope he makes some reference and somehow gets a balloon at some point.
Me too. That'd be lovely.
And just brings back the Brokata for a minute, and just for this match would be perfect for him to do that. And I think this match is going to be really fun. I feel like I was like, of course, Darby's going to probably do something insane. Danielson probably too, because I know he's got to be careful, and he said as long as he has feeling and if he's not lying, like we said before, that Cody taught him how to lie and he loves it. If he's not lying, he has to keep feeling in his right hand to not have surgery. So perhaps he does, but knowing Brian, he's gonna still do something crazy. But I think that I think the Elite wins here.
I do too. I don't think it's even close. I mean, it's going to be awesome, but I think the Elite they've got a storyline going here, so they kind of need to keep it going. And
and you know what would be cool is to see if they do some stuff to like kind of bring back the first Double or Nothing, since it is the 5-year anniversary.
What? I didn't know that.
Maybe they bring in some kind of a reference. Maybe they bring in some people. Maybe they have Kip Sabian come like help do something, or like maybe they do. Yeah, maybe they make some. Would love to see Nyla. Maybe they do some references to like the original All In. Double or Nothing. That would be really cool. But I have a feeling they like to do a lot of callbacks too.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's, so I think this match is going to have a lot of stuff like that, and it'll be fun. Vinkin's theory is that House of Torture interferes to help the Elite win. Listen, Vinkin, y'all keep trying to put stuff into the universe today.
You guys are being evil.
You are. And yes, Takeshita does have a match. He has the title eliminator match against Jon Moxley. And Vinkin says he's losing to Jon Moxley, which yes. But yeah, so I think the Anarchy in the Arena is going to be a lot of fun, but the Elite's definitely going to win. And I'm hoping for Brokata to make an appearance here or at least have the Long Boys. But yeah, so this should be fun.
Here we go.
All right. And so here is our projected main event. We have Swerve versus Christian, which I really like this poster. I think it looks really cool.
It's really cool.
It fits them really well. I love the two of them. I like the story. Not a main event story to me, but I do love them both, and I think they're gonna do like the stuff with Prince Nana the other day, where he used his car to block Christian, and he has his coffee. Like the spot with Nana was great. Like I loved all of it, and then them fighting on top of the Wagoneer, and Nana bringing him a chair. Like all that was a lot of fun. So I think. Sorry, my throat's getting dry.
I gotcha. Right there with you.
This match is going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm sure we'll see the patriarchy get involved here, and they could do some really good stuff. I have a feeling, I don't know if I'm correct, this is just a theory. I kind of think this is where, if there's a reason that this is closing the show other than just this being a title match, I think it's because Hangman is coming back, because Swerve is dealing with everything. He's reaping what he sowed. He was doing some really terrible things before winning the title, and now it's all coming back to bite him in the ass, and Hangman is the only one left. And I don't think Hangman gets involved with Anarchy in the Arena, because then he would have to change his character unless he's joining the Elite, which I don't think he is. I think he's keeping the character that he was leading up to Revolution, and I think this is going to eventually set up for Wembley if he comes back tonight. That's my theory. And again, and Nikki and I have talked about this, if Hangman is coming back, it would be huge, but it's still, you wouldn't have to have him come back in the main event. Like this match wouldn't have to be the main event to make Hangman come back, is what I'm trying to get at here. Like, it'll be a big deal if Hangman comes back, but you don't have to have, this match could be the first of the triple main event, and it would still be fine, I think, if that's what they did. But that's my theory, is that Hangman comes back. I do think Swerve retains, but I do think Hangman comes back after he retains. That's my theory.
I think that Swerve is retaining. I hadn't thought about Hangman, but that does make a lot of sense, because it would be the next natural challenger, because of all the blood feuds and all the people that he's like, he needs to put this situation to rest. He finishes this up, turns around, and there's a whole new situation that he's got a lot of receipts.
Yes, he does. And Swerve himself is the one who said that maybe Hangman Swerve 4 happens at Wembley. So that's been, ever since he said that has been something that has stuck with me. And so I feel like the only thing is, if he comes back now, how do you keep them apart? Not that you can't have them not touch between now and then, but like, you've got to make that match for the title at Wembley if you're going to do it. But like, there's still Forbidden Door to get through, and then there's all this time. So that's the only thing I wonder about, is like how they keep them separated enough, like to make that work. So yeah, that's the only thing. I haven't thought that far ahead. I just feel like this is where this would make sense for Hangman to come back now, because he is reaping what he sows, and and this is where, but that Hangman will come back. So if he doesn't come back,
that would be a big surprise thing at the end. That would be a good, like, closer, I guess. Would be like him coming out and being like, oh crap.
Yeah. And Venkin also makes this point. Hangman has also the issue because he got kicked out of the Elite. Yep. He and Kenny got kicked out the same night.
So he could like start a whole thing with Swerve, win the thingy, and then go after the Elite, because now he's the champion over everything.
Right. So so they could do that.
Plus, when Kenny comes back, there's going to be all kinds of beef there. So,
yeah, and then they were tag team champions too. Kenny and
that's right, because they had that awesome match. So
they did. And then Colin said it would be funny if Joey Janela made an appearance tonight. Yes, so Nick Wayne and Joey Janela and Swerve all have history together. Joey and Nick, I have not had a chance to watch the Defy match, but Joey Janela and Nick Wayne just had a 60-minute match in Defy like 2 weeks ago. And then also, I haven't watched the GCW show, but I did see Matt Cardona, who is acting as GM right now because he's out with an injury. So he's acting GM. He stripped Blake Christian of the GCW title last night because he is in Best of Super Juniors and cannot defend his title against Joey Janela on June the 2nd. And so he stripped him of the title. And then Joey Janela got pissed and was like, no, I earned this title shot. Like, what the hell are you doing? And he was like, you'll still get a shot. And I think he's doing like it's the first ever Matt Cardona general manager. I don't know. It's like some long, insane title. And he said there's going to be a bunch of stars in it. I don't know what he means by that. Who knows who they're bringing in? I'm sure they're bringing people in. Maybe they'll bring Gangrel in.
He only knows everyone.
So. Yeah, so there's no telling. Maybe Nick Wayne comes back for a little bit to visit GCWs, but maybe we get an East-West Express reunion with Jordan Oliver. But yeah, so that was an interesting little thing that they did last night. And Joey was obvious. Then he told Joey, he's like, oh no, if you win your match, you get to be the final entrant. And Joey was like, no, I earned this. But yeah, so I don't know how that's going to play out. And then, Blake Christian's over here trying to deal with BOSJ, and they've stripped him of his title because he can't be there. So I assume that whoever wins the vacant. Oh, so now the title is vacant. So whoever wins this vacant title, I assume Blake Christian will come back and they'll do a match to try to unify or something like that. But so that'll be interesting. But so it would be kind of funny if Joey Janela ended up being there tonight because of his history with half the people in this match. And so Lauren said that he's sorry he's late. He's been traveling. Welcome. We are glad that you have made it.
Glad you popped in. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, so we have made our way through this card. And so we will, before we let you guys go, we'll do a couple little things. So what do you think is going to be match of the night?
I'm going to go with Takeshita and Jon Moxley.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's probably
with the possibility of Deonna and Thunder Rosa being the oops, sleeper. This should have been on the maid card sleeper match.
They're definitely going to make Tony regret not booking them.
I think
that's main card. I think. But if that match is to sell a pay-per-view, I think it will sell a pay-per-view if that's where that is. And yeah, I think
your answer.
I think Mercedes and Willow is going to have a really good match. I think that's the one I'm most excited for. But I think match of the night will be up there for match of the night. I think Ospreay and Roddy maybe. Even though Moxley and Takeshita are going to be really good too, but I feel like Roddy is very good. He's just Roddy is still very good. And I think Ospreay getting in the ring with Ospreay, I think those two will do a lot of good stuff. I think that match is going to be really, really good.
How often has Roddy gotten? I mean, Roddy's this is got to be the biggest match of his career.
Yeah. Oh,
I would on another level right now.
Yeah, so. I would say so. And so I think those are going to be the good ones. And as far as sleeper match, I would say, let me look at this card again. I do think Deonna and Thunder Rosa are going to surprise a lot of people, even though we know how good it's going to be. Yeah. Oh, you know what else I think will still be really good, because we talked about it a long time ago. I think Orange and Trent will be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And
cards so stacked you can't remember.
Yeah, that's why I was like, hold on, let me come back over here and look at this thing. Yeah, I think Orange and Trent maybe, because I feel like for us, I think we know Deonna and Thunder Rosa is going to be really good. So I don't know that I could say it's going to be a sleeper, because I think you and I know that it will be good. I think for fans, they're going to be like, wait. I think a lot of fans are going to be like, why is this not on the main card? But then I feel like Orange and Trent, I think it's going to be maybe
hidden gem amongst them.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to, hopefully it doesn't get lost in the shuffle, by the time that happens, or especially if they open the show, I hope by the time we get to the end, it doesn't, people.
Well, there's a lot on this show.
There's
a lot on the show, and then the matches are really big. You've got to cage match. You've got the Anarchy.
Yeah, and I think like that cage match is going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be really cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think that, and then like, I mean, you've even got like the Death Triangle versus the Bang Bang Gang. Like that's going to be a solid. I think that's going to be really good. And like, there's a lot of really solid stuff on this card. I think this is like going to be. I think this is going to be a really good show. I don't know if it's. I think for me, it probably will not top Revolution just because.
Well, yeah,
it was Sting's final match, and I was there, and so that's definitely, that show's always going to hold a special place for me. But one thing I will ask, and this was not a prepared question, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Ooh, oh crap!
Since this is the 5-year anniversary, what are some matches that still stand out to you? Not necessarily on Double or Nothing, but stand out to you in the last 5 years.
Well, I love the MJF John Moxley match. That's still one of my favorite, like, because they really went for it and had a good wrestling match. I don't think that was a Double or Nothing necessarily, but let's see. The Bucks and the Young Bucks versus Kenny and Hangman.
Yes, that was a phenomenal match. Yes,
I mean, you can't good. I mean, I know that they worked on that, but the execution was so amazing. And I mean, I did see Osprey Omega live last year in Toronto.
That was Benkin's. That was Benkin's match.
Yeah, I saw that live, and that's. I mean, I don't. There's no. I've seen some amazing live matches, but that's no contest. I mean,
Yeah,
and I mean, and Bryan Danielson and Okada improvised the ending of a pretty damn good match right after that. So.
Right. Yeah, there's been some incredible matches in the last 5 years. I think one of my favorites that gets overlooked a lot, and it got brought up again yesterday, and I was glad they were talking about it, was Dustin versus Cody.
Dustin and Cody
at the first Double or Nothing is still one of my favorite AEW matches ever. I love that match so much. I mean, even the second match that they did was really great, and I loved it. But this, there was
the first one was so like emotional. It was everything. It was like you got it checked every single box, and then like ones you didn't even know you needed checked.
Right. That match was so.
It was good.
Just the emotion was there. And then you have the history of the brother, because you obviously, the history of the brothers, especially because there was some stuff with Dustin and Cody growing up, because Dustin had some resentment because their dad was with Cody growing up, but missed most of him growing up. And so you have that kind of resentment there. This is a brand new company. There was no TV at this time. There was supposed to be TV, didn't come until that October. And like just the entire story, and then then Dustin got cut open, and then he's just bloody, and there's blood all over the place. Like, just I loved that match so much, and just everything with it. And Garrett told me, because I quote tweeted the match yesterday, and Garrett said that people were crying real tears, and I was like, I don't think I knew that. And he tagged somebody, and she was like, oh yeah, she was like, I cried. And I was like, I get it, because that match was super emotional. It was a very emotional match. And then, of course, one of my favorite AEW matches ever was the dog collar match with Brody Lee and Cody. Not just because it ended up being Brody's final match, but I love dog collar matches. And I think the two of them, especially with what Brody was doing at that time. And, of course, had he not, if things had not turned out the way they had, like I always wonder what on both ends, not just with Brody passing, but also Cody left. And you kind of just wonder like what would have happened. And I'm so glad we got that match, and it's still one of my favorites. But there's been so many. And then there, of course, like Britt and Thunder Rosa get the first ever on St. Patrick's Slam, getting to main event for the first time. The cage match that they did, the cage match, I had, some people say the cage match was not as good, but that's also because Thunder Rosa's back was really, really bad then. But there's,
technical difficulties. Nope. Gotta turn it on. I still can't hear you.
I didn't know it muted me.
Beef. There it is. There it is.
And then it muted me. But what I was saying was there's so many other matches, and I know I put you on the spot, and I would have to go back and like really think about other ones. But those are some of the matches that always stand out to me. But I really love that Cody Dustin match.
Yeah, that was a good one. Really good.
And then Nikki said her favorites are Cody versus Brody in the dog collar match in the first parking lot, bro. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, good one.
Like the other ones have been good, but that match, I love that parking lot, bro. I think it gets slept on a lot because there's been so many good matches since.
Well, there's too much good. I mean, that's the reality.
Good problem to have. Daza said, oh yeah, this is a good one. Daza said the first Stadium Stampede really stands out for me because at the time when the pandemic had me down and in a dark place, that match was crazy and fun and different and just what I needed to smile. Yeah, they totally delivered with that. I would agree. The Stadium Stampede was so much
You
fun.
nailed it because we needed that match. That was the match we needed in a time that we needed it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
there's
Sammy
so much
Guevara
good
getting
stuff
run down
came...
by a golf cart is the most amazing image in the universe.
Maybe Sammy comes and gets some revenge tonight. Maybe he returns. He's off suspension, so maybe he comes and gets some revenge.
Like he drives back in.
Matt Hardy is gone now. Matt Hardy actually I'm behind on TNA, but he has Broken Matt has a title match against Moose at Slammiversary.
Oh.
So, and he said, I saw him tweet before he came back to TNA that he's won the champion as, what was it? I don't remember if it was Matt. I can't remember. There was like, he's won it as 2 Matt Hardy characters, but he's never won it as Broken Matt. So I was like, okay, well, I think that's probably where they're going with it. And then I saw the title match and I was like, but I'm not keeping up with TNA just because there's been a bunch of like, there's ROH and then like I have Grays and Station 19 and all that I've been keeping up with. So, and trying to watch BOSJ. So TNA is on my DVR, but I feel like Broken Matt, that's the place for him to be, is in TNA. And so I feel like it's a good fit and I'm glad that he's getting paid and can do stuff. When I go back to this comment from Will Ron, he said that trios match should be on the pre-show so that Deanna and Thunder Rosa could be on the main card. I agree, but I feel like that. I still think that I would rather the FTW title be on the main card than the trios match. But regardless, Deanna and Thunder Rosa should be on the main card because that match is going to be great. And Daza said that I think AEW's response to the COVID lockdown was their finest moment because they did everything to entertain and overcome the restrictions. There was so much good stuff in the pandemic era. And then like, I loved when they had the crowd was like, one side was all the baby faces and the other side was all the heels. And then you have like, it was MJF and Sean Spears were like taking bets on matches. And then Austin Gunn was like insane, like putting like hyping up the baby faces, and he would wear Thunder Rosa's not Thunder Rosa, Sheeta's cape and have her kendo stick, and like that was such a fun era. And then you see like the talent that comes out of that are still there. Like that's where we saw Anna Jay. Julia Hart was doing her cheerleader gimmick there. And then there's so much good stuff that came out of that that I love. And it
could have totally killed the company right off the bat. And instead they turned it into something like meaningful. They turned it into something that like helped us get through the pandemic instead.
Yeah. Right. And Daza says Billy Gunn was one of the best workers of 2020 for his work as an audience member. Yeah, like they did so much fun stuff then, awesome. And they really they gave it a really cool feel, and that I wish, I hate that Sheeta's first title run was kind of in that era, but I'm glad she got to go back and do it with the crowd this, that time. And they and Tony even mentioned in the call that we've had kind of 3 eras of AEW. You have like the pre-pandemic era, the pandemic era, and then and he was kind of talking about how the Anarchy match with Team AEW is kind of represents all 3 eras, because you have Darby, who was a pillar and there in the beginning, and then you have the pandemic era, which FTR came in 2020, so they were in the pandemic era, and then you have Danielson kind of leading people out of that when you're bringing fans back in, and Danielson is obviously beloved by fans, and he's really brought that energy back to the live crowds. And so he was like, all 3 of them kind of, or all of them, all 4 men kind of represent the 3 eras of AEW, which is I hadn't really thought of it that way, but I think that's a cool way to kind of look at
definitely.
There's early days AEW pre-pandemic, then you have the pandemic era, and then you have this new stuff with fans again. And so I think that was really cool. So I'm excited for tonight. I think
Me
tonight's
too.
going to be. I think it's going to be an awesome show. And like we said earlier, there will be a Double or Nothing post show. I'm not sure exactly what time it will start afterwards, how quickly.
We go shortly after the thing ends. They try and go up as fast as possible, but also people need to get themselves together. It's usually late.
Yeah.
This one is probably going to be a 12 or 1 o'clock ender. So
yeah, it'll probably be 15 to 20 minutes after the show ends, most likely, because they.
But if
go to
you
the bathroom,
subscribe
get
to
set up.
the YouTube and you hit the bell and all the stuff, the notification will pop up for you and you'll know when they're going live. And it's always fun to hang out with Kevin Ely and Jeremy and people like that. Kevin, and we get our boom dose that we need, and that's always nice.
Yes, that's always fun. And then we also have and so if you're following Powerbombshells on Twitter, we will also retweet them to give you the reminder of them going live. When they're live, we'll let you know. Follow Fight Game Media on Twitter as well. And Fight Game Media also on their Twitter and Instagram, because we have people in the Fight Game Media group they were at Collision last night. So they tweeted some stuff, posted some stuff on Instagram. I'm sure there will be some stuff tonight too. So make sure that you're following at Fight Game Media on Twitter and on Instagram, because I'm sure they'll have some stuff for tonight as well.
They were posting pictures in the Discord thread too. So
yeah.
I imagine there'll be some cute pictures from.
Definitely. Okay. And then next week we will be back. We have a guest scheduled. And then the week after that, we also have a guest scheduled. So
we're awesome.
Yes. So
Mel is going to see her first championship wrestling next Saturday night.
I was thinking about that last night. I was like, oh, that's next Saturday.
Motor City Machine Guns versus New Albania. Let's see who the winner is.
But yes. So Motor City, they are booked and busy for a while. Like they're Shelly and Sabin are facing each other in Prestige Wrestling on July 12th.
They're doing a clinic before they do the show this week.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I love those guys.
Yeah, I know Alex Shelley's doing he's doing a clinic, like I think before the Prestige show. So
they're amazing.
They
really
like
love
like
them.
they said that they're probably coming, but it's going to be a while. These dudes, they're very busy.
They're very busy.
I don't see them come. I mean, they could come to Double or Nothing tonight. I don't see them coming to Double or Nothing. I think they're busy.
I guess it could happen, and that would bum me out because I'm a week away. I would still go next week. I hope that Tony would let them fulfill at least that. They don't seem like the kind of guys that would bail on that.
I don't think so. I feel like
that. Especially since it's local, and I figured out that they do the same thing Title Belt does. So the one that they're doing for the Lance Cruise is going to charity, and the one that they're doing in our town is going to a dog shelter. And
awesome!
They even just partnered with a dog rescue place that they're going to be cool. They're just going to be working together with them, and some of the stuff is going to go to. So it's more like it's a community deal, and I'm excited for that. So
that's so cool.
It makes me lean towards Sabin and Shelly being like, and we're finishing this high school thing. So.
Oh yeah, I totally expect them to. They are going to finish all their commitments.
I don't know. I think that would overshadow everything if they came in tonight.
Yeah, I don't.
There's
see
a lot going on.
I mean, I could see maybe if they're going to do like something with Forbidden Door, because there have been somebody, I think it was War Dogs, made a reference to them in New Japan a few weeks ago. I wouldn't be surprised if they show up in New Japan for a little bit first. They were at DPW last week. I think they're going to be there. There's a tag team tournament in July, I think, for DPW. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing that. But then also, speaking of local wrestling, if you are in the Charlotte area, Shea tickets are going on sale at midnight. So, and that's the main event is Jonathan Gresham versus Shelton Benjamin. So if you are in the Charlotte area, or you can get to Charlotte on Juneteenth weekend, buy your tickets now.
Do it.
Buy at midnight. I will be buying my tickets at midnight. I will be in here probably in the chat with the post game stuff or the post show stuff, and probably watching the scrum. But I will be buying at midnight. I will be buying my Ashe tickets. There's no way I am missing that match, and there's going to be some great stuff. There's already like King Bees and Fire and Flava are going to be on that show. We talked about that card last week. I'm so excited. And Mel's got cool shit, and we're going to talk about. I'm sure she will be reporting back next week.
Yes.
We got a guest. So yeah, next week will be fun. But thank you for hanging out with us today. We hope that you are hyped for Double or Nothing, and we'll definitely talk about the fallout next week. I'm sure of it. So definitely come back next week and give your opinions on the pay-per-view as well. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for being here, everybody.